He has a very strong arm, sees the field well, doesn't fall in love with the receiver, tries to spread it around, although he has found Curtis Conway in the end zone several times.
10 years ago, the head coach of the Houston Oilers. Today, Jeff Fisher was a cornerback and punt returner for the Chicago Bears. Well, he's got coaching on his mind this year, his first full year as head coach for the Houston Oilers, and really probably has the biggest challenge of all NFL head coaches.
Dan, I agree with you. When you come out of the back end of the run and shoot, and that's exactly what Jeff Fisher has had to do. You got to find all kinds of people. The run and shoot, you designate more people to the offense. He has brought in a new coaching staff, new players. He is a very organized coach. He trusts the players' judgment. They like him. This is a turnaround season for the Houston Oilers. They don't expect to win a lot of games, but at least take that one step further away from the run and shoot.
Well, the Bears have won the toss, elected to receive, and Al Del Greco, one of 3 NFL teams without a touchback. He has been very strong in the kickoff department for the Houston Oilers. And there is Nate Lewis, second leading kick returner in the NFL at better than 27 yards, but is a short kick by Del Greco and taken at the 15-yard line by Tony Carter. And that is where Eric Kramer will begin to work. We mentioned the hottest quarterback in the league, 14 touchdown passes. That's tied for the NFL lead with Bono of Kansas City up front. A great offensive line. Heck, Perry, Fontenot, Lewenberg, and James Big Cat Williams. Backs and receivers, the Heisman Trophy winner, Rashaan Salaam. And there is Curtis Conway. 7 touchdown receptions, 3 last week. In fact, his last 3 receptions have been for touchdowns. And we'll see a lot of Michael Timpson in the 3 wideout offensive scheme for Chicago. Bears begin at the 23-yard line. And Kramer to the air on first down and going deep downfield on first down and intercepted by Darryl Lewis. Pass was intended for Jeff Graham and intercepted on the first play of the game, only the 3rd all year for Kramer.
And that's taken a chance by the Chicago Bears to sit all week and say, well, this is what we're going to do first. Lewis 29 and Dishman 28, probably in man bump and run coverage more than any set of corners in the league. Graham can't quite get in there to turn defender. Excellent interception by Lewis. Yes, absolutely. Well done. Concentration on the football, stayed right with Jeff Graham.
And Eric Kramer had come into the game trying to beat Jim Harbaugh's record of consecutive passes without an interception. That's out the window after the first play of the game. So Chris Chandler and the Oilers begin work at the 31. And they'll keep it on the ground to the rookie Rodney Thomas. The ball is loose, and the Bears may have it. In fact, they do. John Theory, number 94, recovers. So 2 turnovers on the first 2 plays of the game.
I didn't see any contact here, Dan. Good blocking up front by the offensive line. Does anybody hit him? Yes, it's Carrier who makes the contact. The ball is loose. Theory 94 with the recovery. So the exchange on the play is basically a long pass completion for the Bears.
An auspicious beginning for both teams, but Kramer, after throwing the interception, has the Bears in business at the Oiler 41. And whistle stop play.
I don't know what that was. There's still 5 seconds to go on the play clock there.
Prior to the snap, 75 offense, false start, 5 yards, repeat first down.
So the false start on Todd Perry. The referee this afternoon is Ron Blum, and that moves the Bears back to the Oiler 46. So not a very good start at all.
Not very good at all. One of the things you see teams do against the Houston Oilers 46 defense is a lot of motion. You got to keep your presence of mind on offense.
And they'll keep it on the ground this time, and it's Rashaan Salaam. Nothing right, breaks out left and hurdles himself to the 40-yard line. So a gain of 6 for Salaam. The Houston defense comes in as the 4th-ranked unit in the NFL, but they will start 2 rookies up front. Gary Walker in for Childress, who has a separated shoulder, and he is inactive today. The linebackers, Robinson, Barrow, and Bowden, 2 good cornerbacks. You just saw Darryl Lewis get the pick. He and Dishman on the corners, Blaine Bishop and Chuck Cecil the safeties, Tamur Barnes and Steve Jackson of the dime package for Houston. Second down and 9. Kramer to the air, pumps once, and this time he has Jeff Graham for first down yardage inside the 15 of Houston. Michael Barrow finally ran him out of bounds, but not before a gain of 26.
And a lot positive for the Bears there. One, excellent pass protection. And then two, the Bears have figured out a way to get the watch the linebacker coverage. 56 Barrow on Graham as he comes across the middle. Graham with excellent speed. Barrow, for a linebacker, has good speed, can't stay with him. So the Bears exploit a weakness in that Houston defense, come up with a big completion.
1st and 10 from the 13. And on the ground, this is Salam, and his second carry of the day gets down to about the 11 or 12 yard line. Gain of 2, brought down by the free safety Chuck Cecil.
That's another thing you see out of this Houston defense. Safeties at the line of scrimmage constantly. That time Cecil, unblocked, was there to at least, he made Salam move a little bit, and that really destroyed the timing of the entire play. Here's the guy who's been fined $55,000 for illegal hits on people.
He's really been a blessing, though, for this Houston defense, which has been injury plagued, and he knows the 46. 2nd and 8, Kramer in the air, incomplete. And he wanted the tight end Keith Jennings. So that'll bring up 3rd down. Barham Wortham on the coverage for Houston.
That's another thing that this Bear offense is really put into their system this year. They try to, most times, isolate just one side of the field. Looked like Jennings was the outlet receiver, not the primary receiver. And that's one of the reasons why Eric Kramer's not been sacked much. He doesn't hang on to the ball. He'll try to get it to the underneath receiver.
Dave Wanstead told us they'll go a lot to this 3 wideout package. So Michael Timpson is in, along with Jeff Graham and Curtis Conway. Robert Green is the lone setback. And Kramer firing to the end zone, incomplete. He wanted Graham. That'll bring up 4th down and Kevin Butler. And Kevin Butler is the only kicker in the NFL this season perfect. 10 for 10. And most of them have been somewhat chip shots. His longest field goal of the year, 37 yards. This will be only a 28-yarder.
And his holder, the punter, Todd Sauerbrunn, first time in the NFL regular season he's held.
The hold is down, and the kick is good by Butler. Make it 11 for 11 as the Chicago Bears get on the board first. They lead at 3-0. Well, there is the leading rusher for the Houston Oilers, a rookie out of Texas A&M, Rodney Thomas, who has been pressed into duty with Gary Brown being injured, but he has fumbled the ball at times this year.
You know, the Houston Oilers are waiting to run the ball well. Here, Thomas 6-7 yards past the line of scrimmage and then coughs it up. The Houston Oilers coaches believe with their offensive line they should be able to run. Well, they make the hole. You got to hang on to the football, pal.
Todd Sauerbrunn, one of 2 punters drafted in the recent draft. The rookie out of West Virginia takes off. He was a 2nd-round selection. Mel Gray, the most prolific kick return man in NFL history, comes up to the 11, bumps into a man and jumps his way across the 30 out to about the 32-yard line. So 21-yard kickoff return from Mel Gray.
The Detroit Lions say that their loss of Mel Gray was the biggest single loss of a player they've had in years.
Chris Chandler brings out the Oilers, healthy after a bruised shoulder. Up front, Hopkins, Matthews, and Stepnoski. 10 straight Pro Bowls between that duo. Backs and receivers, Todd McNair back for the first time after a foot injury. The rookies, Thomas along with Chris Sanders. He's the rookie out of Ohio State, along with Michael Roan. Malcolm Seabram comes in as the 3rd wideout for Houston. They start 5 rookies today, 3 on this offense. Play action for Chandler, rolling right, bumps once, and then almost has this one picked off. He was looking for Todd McNair. Mark Carrier had a chance at it, but a flag has been thrown at the 36. And we'll hear from Ron Blum again.
Not a good start here. A fumble, then an ineligible man downfield on a little swing pass.
Number 77 offense, illegally downfield. 5 yards. Repeat, 1st down.
Well, the Bear defense, and it has been much maligned this season. Spellman, Flanagan, Zorich, and Fontenot up front. And the linebacking core of Smith, Kane, and Cox. The defensive secondary gave up 288 passing yards last week to expansion team Jacksonville. Barry Minner and Kevin Minifield come into the nickel package for the Bears. So now 1st down and 15 after the 5-yard penalty for Houston. And Chandler finds out of the backfield Marion Butts. But Butts gets maybe a yard before Chris Zorich wrestles him down to the turf.
Dan, you mentioned the poor standing of the Chicago Bears defense. Gave up 460 yards total to Jacksonville last week. Their big problem has been on 3rd down. This is a defense. Its philosophy is do not give up the big play. And they have. And for the life of Bob Slowick and Dave Wannstedt, they can't figure out why they keep giving up the big play.
No gain for Butts. 2nd down and 15. Chandler to the air, and this time he hooks up with Butts, and this time Butts has some pretty good yardage. Marion Butts signed by the Oilers at the end of September. He was the Patriots' leading rusher in '94. In fact, every team he's been on, he's been the leading rusher 5 years with the Chargers previously.
But never has he been a real receiver. Houston maybe has discovered something that Marion Butts can do. He's always been either a blocking back or a guy who just carried it 40 times a game.
Well, here's a 3rd down conversion attempt, and you see the numbers there. Houston's 2nd in the NFL. So strength against weakness here. And Richard Dent is in the Bears defense. Chandler comes to the near side, and that never had a chance. In fact, Jeremy Lincoln had a chance to pick it off, intended for Chris Sanders. 4th down.
Bears trying to come with a designer sack there to put some pressure on Chris Chandler.
Designer sack.
Yeah, loops and stunts. They put very little pressure on the quarterback, and I think that's one of the problems the Bears have defensively on 3rd down. They just can't seem to get to the quarterback.
So Rich Camarillo set to punt for the first time. 15-year veteran out of Washington. And back deep for the Bears is Jeff Graham. 3-0 Chicago. 11:10 left in the 1st quarter. And a pretty good driving punt by Camarillo back to the 9. Graham takes it out across the 15 to about the 17-yard line. Not a high punt, but it drove Graham back, so 55 yards on the punt for Camarillo. And the Bears with a 28-yard field goal by Kevin Butler lead it 3-0.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Chevrolet. The cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. By McDonald's. Have you had your break today? By Northwestern Mutual Life. There are a lot of good reasons for choosing the quiet company. And by Magnavox. At Magnavox, we make technology people want. Magnavox. Smart. Very smart.
Dan Hicks, Bob Trumpy back at Soldier Field. Chicago with a 3-0 lead. 1st and 10 from its 17. Rashaan Salaam with a big hole on the left side, trying to make it even bigger, taking the turn and picking up the 1st down. 11 yards for Salaam on the carry.
Andy, I'm telling you, this kid is extraordinary. Watch the vision that allows him to cut back. Great speed. Ask him why he wasn't drafted higher. You know, Kajana Carter of the Bengals was the 1st pick out of Penn State. He said, look, I was a late arriver. I didn't do much the year before I won the Heisman. It's understandable. I do have a point to make, though. Some people may have made a mistake.
5th running back chosen. And here is Salaam again. Great job blocking up front, and he just bowls his way across the 45. Chris Dishman makes the stop, but another 16-yard gain for Salaam.
And Dan, the point I want to make about this young man, generally, rookie running backs coming into the league are guys who they hunt and peck. They pick, they choose, they slide. This guy is a pounder. He is a true running back, but he really fires in there. There is no hesitation whatsoever when he gets the ball in his hands.
Just 21 years old a couple of weeks ago. And Salam again. Why not? He's picking up some big chunks, but this time the Houston defense is there to meet him. He's the youngest player in the NFL. As you take a look at the list of other youthful products.
These two guys, Corey Stringer for Minnesota now starting, and Tamarick Vanover for Kansas City, have done an excellent job. But I think Salam, of those young guys, is getting the most business from his team. They have great confidence in Rashaan Salam. Missed 2 weeks of camp. Came in, he wasn't really in football shape. He was in good shape, but not football shape. And they love this kid. They can't say enough about it.
Left after his junior year from Colorado. 2nd down and 9. Kramer to the air over the middle, wanted his tight end, but Keith Jennings not able to hold on.
Something wrong there. Conway was right in front of Jennings, number 80. One of the things about this offense is it's a 3- and 5-step drop. Now watch, here's Conway on the outside. Jennings takes the outside release. That's not right. Somebody got the wrong play there. Let's blame it on Jennings is coming out. Let's blame it on the tight end.
The former tight end. Surprised at that finger pointing foul.
I'll never do it again.
Anthony Johnson and Robert Green in the backfield. 3rd and long again for Chicago.
Blitz.
Here it comes. The blitz from the Oilers, and a defender falls down as the catch is made by number 83, Michael Timpson.
That was pretty.
15 yards, just the 8th catch for Timpson. They've been trying to get him more involved in the wide receiving scheme for Chicago.
From behind the defense, you see the blitz coming, picked up well by Chicago. Kramer stands in there. This is a beautiful catch by Michael Timpson. They signed him as a free agent. You know, in New England last year, he had over 70 receptions. This is what I like about Kramer. He will stand in there and take the hit to make the completion. This a pretty one.
First 6 years with the Patriots, Timpson. Now Kramer firing left side, and he's got Tony Carter. Carter's got more 1st down yardage. And he's out of bounds at about the 22-yard line. In his 2nd year out of Minnesota, gain of 16 for Carter.
Now he's replacing Raymond Harris, who on the 2nd play of the 1st game of the season broke his collarbone. So they insert this young man in, primarily a blocking back, but look, they find out the kid can catch. So now you're seeing a Chicago Bear offense. They throw it outside, they try to the tight end, and it's all based on their ability to run the ball with Salam. And to this point in this game, it's worked.
1st and 10. To Salam, nowhere to run. You talk about the balance, Bob, of this Chicago Bears team on offense. In fact, there was a streak at one time where 8 touchdowns in a row were made by entirely different players.
And you got to give a lot of credit to Ron Turner, who is the offensive coordinator, brother of Norv, who is the head coach of Washington, realizing that you can't put an offense on the shoulders of one guy. The more you spread it around one, the more interest you have in the rest of the players. You just can't hand the ball to Rashaan Salam or throw it to Conway and get it down the field. So he likes to spread the ball around, keeps everybody in the game, and it really hurts a defense when it works.
Green and Carter in the backfield as Salam takes a breather. Kramer to the air, over the middle, and just out of the reach of Jeff Graham. Just thrown a little bit behind him.
Good coverage again, this time by Chris Dishman on Graham. But they're getting the single coverage. Houston likes it, and so does Chicago. Another blitz shown by Houston. 50 is not picked up at all by the it was Eddie Robinson, who was not picked up at all by the Chicago Bears, but Dishman an excellent job of just knocking that ball away.
So now Kramer in Chicago faced with 3rd and 9 from the Oiler 20. Quick drop by Kramer and a quick slant on the right side. And that is complete to Michael Timpson, who hauls in his 2nd reception of the game. Good for 10 yards. And a Bear 1st down.
And again, anytime you see a blitz, here's Michael Barrow, 56, blitzing from the inside. Salam, no, it's Green who picks him up, puts him right on his keister. Then Kramer knows I probably have man-to-man coverage on the outside. Timpson runs a nice slant, makes a tough catch for the 1st down.
And you wouldn't know it from the crowd here. I mean, For 66,000 plus, this is about as quiet as it gets. And I guess maybe the fact that Northwestern had a pretty good victory over Wisconsin yesterday, 35-0, homecoming, maybe they're just worn out.
Yeah, well, they had Rose Bowl parades, mock Rose Bowl parades up in Evanston before the game. Northwestern wins the game, shuts out Wisconsin. They have the best record in the Big Ten. After the game, they celebrate. I mean, they're here to rest. Come on, this is a busy weekend in Chicago.
Chris Dishman was the shaken-up Oiler. And that's the not good news for Houston. They've been shaken up on defense all year. But here's another look at what happened to Dishman.
Chuck Cecil hits him. His own man hits him. Can you get fined for hitting your own guy, or is it only when you hit an opponent do you get fined?
I think the latter.
The latter.
We'll check.
Cecil, he does not discriminate, man. He'll hit anything moving on the football field.
So the ball squarely on the 10, first and goal. Good drive by the Bears, 10th play. Kramer working the play action, and he's got Graham. And Graham is just inside the 5-yard line. Chuck Cecil made the stop. The former Packer and Cardinal. There he is.
And what the Bears are doing here and doing beautifully is flooding an area. They had a receiver deep on that side. They had a receiver in the flat on that side. And Graham was the intermediate receiver, and Kramer finds him. Longstadt likes the way his offense is functioning at the start of this game.
The high-scoring Chicago Bears offense. Second and goal. And the give to Salam. Tried to hurdle a few defenders, but there were just too many Oilers there to meet him. Beginning with the rookie out of Auburn, Gary Walker, number 96, who gets the start today for Ray Childress.
There was a time when Salam earlier this season was putting the ball on the ground. Nice little trap run here by Chicago. Good stop by the Houston Oilers defense. He talked to Walter Payton, who still lives here in Chicago. Walter said, forget the fumbles. Don't hang your head. Don't stop talking to the press. You're going to fumble the ball. You run hard. Don't worry about it.
Well, he is in there on 3rd and goal from the 4. Kramer looking left, and
bad throw.
Ryan Wetnight never had a chance.
Yeah, bad throw.
So guess what? Kevin Butler gets a chance to go 12 for 12, and it's another chip shot.
Now, these are all negatives, though. When you have controlled the defense you're playing to this extent for Chicago, and your first 2 drives in and field goals, for a coach like Wannstedt or any coach, it just drives you crazy. It just gives the other team a chance. Well, you know, they're controlling us, but it's only 6-0. We're still in this game. There's no problem. Keep doing what we're doing.
You mentioned the 37, the longest this season. All the rest have been in the 20s, including that one from 22.
And that was a great job by the holder, Sauerbrunn. That was a bad snap. He got it up, and he makes the kick.
And good for a 6-0 Chicago lead. Is Todd Sauerbrunn, a second-round draft pick out of West Virginia, and by his own accounts will tell you that yes, I was the best college punter in history. He was good. More on him in a moment. He had huge numbers in college at West Virginia, but that's been a problem, is inconsistencies on kickoff. The flag comes out, and now the Oilers will start from the 40.
This kid is definitely different. There is no question about that. And one of the big reasons he was drafted was he's an excellent punter, but also his kickoff ability. But here he saves himself. Look at the job he does here. He drops the snap, which is a good one, gets it back down. Butler makes his 12th in a row. Normally the holder for Butler is Chris Gedney, the tight end. Gedney out with a stomach ailment. But Sauerbrunn signs a professional contract. Then he goes out and gets a tattoo. And he doesn't go out and get 1 pierced earring. He gets 2 pierced earrings. Qualifies as a kicker.
Houston from the 40. Marion Butts doing what he got paid for all those years in San Diego, rushing the football. Those 2 receptions that we did see earlier for Marion Butts, his very first 2 for the Oilers.
Actually, it may be the first in several years for Marion Butts. You can see how at one time he was the big guy, always been just a ball-peen hammer of a running back. While he was at Florida State College, basically played special teams. Then he went out to San Diego with Dan Hanning, and Hanning just turned him into a tank with the football.
Well, he picks up 4 yards there, and 2nd down and 6. Here he is again. Just stretching out across the 45, but maybe a yard for him before Jim Flanagan, the left tackle, brought him down. Flanagan wearing the Dan Hampton number 99, changing from 68.
Yeah, last year he said 68 had looked like an offensive lineman. And Dave Wanstead will tell you, this kid has improved more in 1 year than any player he's ever seen. Sat down and talked to himself, said, look, I'm going to do 3 things. 1, I'm not going to miss a day of camp. He didn't. I'll continue in a moment.
Just his 3rd NFL start. 3rd and 5 for Houston. Chandler going deep down the far sidelines and not able to haul it in as Chris Sanders, and we have seen him haul in that type of catch earlier this year. He is got a huge average. It leads the NFL, better than 28 yards per catch.
Back on the line, let's watch Richard Dent, one of the famed members of the Chicago Bears. When they won the Super Bowl in '95, he was their big pass rush specialist against Bruce Matthews. A little pushing, a little shoving, a little punching. This is a day at the office for these 2 gentlemen. Nothing out of the ordinary. Richard, we got plenty of plays left. Don't use yourself up on just one, pal.
MVP of Super Bowl 20, and how ironic is it that the Bears Super Bowl team of '85 has been honored at halftime of this game. Camarillo just gets it off, and coming up to make the fair catch at the 21 is Jeff Graham. Just a 34-yard punt by Camarillo. 3:40 left in the first quarter. Chicago leads at 6-0. Mike Singletary, the heart and soul of one of the best defenses to ever play in the NFL back in '85, and on that team as well, Mr. Jeff Fisher, who has a Super Bowl ring but did not play that season as a punt returner man and cornerback because of an ankle surgery that he had even before the season started.
Yeah, that really ran him to coaching. Buddy Ryan was here. He broke down a lot of film and did some graduate assistant coaching. Oh, look at the yards between the 2 teams. Chicago owned this first quarter, just 6 points to show for it.
Begin this drive at the 21, and they begin it with Rashaan Salaam up to the 24, gain of 3.
Now see, Danny, there's another thing about Salaam. Doesn't mind cutting back into the fat guys. You know, a lot of running backs you see, especially the young ones, when they start running that sweep and it's not there, they head to the sideline. They Franco Harrison. Rashaan Salaam will turn back in there where the nuts are. You know, those linebackers and defensive tackles. He'll take the hit.
Now, 2nd leading rusher, Colorado, behind the enemy Heisman Trophy winner. Wants to make number 31 famous in the NFL. Kramer's pass deflected at the line of scrimmage, and that'll bring up another 3rd down. He wanted Jeff Graham.
That seems like the only name we called today. 2 names offensively are Rashaan Salaam and Jeff Graham. I could not see who got their hand up, but pass rushers, you can only make so much progress, then you get your hand up. Like Glenn Montgomery, number 94, knocked that ball away. That may be a tag on Kramer. Not a real tall quarterback. Let's see. Watch 94 on your right. See if he gets his hand up, knocks it away. Now it's
Actually, it was inside of Montgomery.
I think it was Craig Vesey, 71, who knocked that ball away.
3rd and 7. Kramer wants a lot of it. Wide open is Conway, who hauls it in. They're not going to get him. Touchdown, Chicago.
Danny, that's 4 straight catches, all for touchdown. 3 last week, 1 today.
76 yards.
Did you see Singletary? Offense scores, he wouldn't dare applaud. Once a linebacker, always a linebacker. Beautifully executed by the Bears.
8th touchdown of the season for Curtis Conway. He came into this game tied for the NFL with Jerry Rice.
Now, Dave Wannstedt admitted to us that in the offseason they acquired Michael Timpson for one reason and one reason alone: put pressure on Curtis Conway. Conway and his wife had twin boys. He matured instantly when they talked about Timpson.
And Kevin Butler, who's also perfect on PATs this season, 20 for 20. But Curtis Conway has given the Bears a 13-0 lead. Back to the route by Conway.
When you face a 46 defense, a Houston defense, if somebody makes a mistake, you're wide open. It looks like mass confusion out there. The closest guy to him is Steve Jackson, 24. You can't blame it on him. He's the safety back there. Someone totally dropped the coverage and allowed Conway to get loose. And Kramer says, that's the way we drew it up.
15 touchdown passes on the season now for Eric Kramer. He came in tied with Steve Bono of Kansas City for tops in the NFL. He's got 11 touchdown passes in his last 3 games. And I wonder, Bob, what the record is for consecutive receptions that are touchdowns. That's 4 straight for Conway.
It's got to be close. 4 straight catches for a touchdown.
Did you ever have 2 in a row?
No.
Okay. That puts it all in perspective.
I had 2 in a game. In fact, I think I had 3 in a game one time.
And the kick, not a particularly good one by Sauerbrunn, but Mel Gray takes a pop. A flag comes in. It all unfolds right in front of the Bears reunion party on the far side of the field. Dwayne Joseph makes the special teams tackle for Chicago.
Well, maybe those 85 Bears adding a little inspiration to the 95 Bears.
Ron Blum, what do you got?
Illegal block, number 46 on the return team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Penalty on the rookie Michael Roan. And that'll push Houston back even further.
And if we go back to the touchdown, Conway is on the outside, and you're going to see a point about 15 yards down the field where there are 3 defensive backs, and then suddenly everyone stops. I don't know what happens, but suddenly everyone stops. So they all freeze right there. Conway breaks by him 60 yards after the catch on a 76-yard touchdown.
Oilers from the 9, trailing 13-0. Chandler sets up in a hurry, incomplete. Intended for Chris Sanders. That was Donnell Wolford, who leads the team with 4 interceptions. Had a chance at a 5th.
And so far for Chris Chandler, little has gone right.
Just 2 of 5 for 9 yards. Getting back to the Conway reception, it was Jeff Fisher who told us, I'm worried about a lot of things, but what I'm worried about is yards after the catch. Conway's touchdown of 76 yards, 60 yards after he caught it.
And he caught it in full stride. Perfectly thrown by Eric Kramer.
And flags come in to stop it. As the give was to Todd McNair.
Prior to the snap, 74 offense. False start. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat second down.
The 13-year veteran Bruce Matthews, who was a teammate of Fisher at USC.
You know, the other thing that's interesting, 74 Matthews started at center in the Pro Bowl last year for the AFC. The starting center in the Pro Bowl for the NFC last year, Mark Stepnoski, the guy lined up next to him.
A lot of talent.
A lot of talent.
Houston's offense. But now it's faced with a second down and 15. Chandler is sacked in the end zone for the safety. Number 96, Al Fontenot.
This is just a 4-man rush for the Chicago Bears to get this much pressure on Chris Chandler with that offensive line. Very disturbing for Houston. Not a lot of pressure there. The offensive line should have picked that up. I don't see anybody. Well, there's a delayed blitz in the middle by 54. He's picked up. Nice stunt run by 96 Fontenot. He gets inside the guard, tackle blocking, and makes the sack.
So 15-0 Chicago, and we mentioned the Bears' much maligned defense coming in. It came in as the 21st ranked defense in the league, 23rd against the pass.
They got a lot better in this quarter, didn't they?
You'd never know it by the way they've started. Maybe they are inspired by the presence of the 85 Bears.
Yeah, well, that was the best defense that I ever saw. It's not the best defense that I ever played against, but it's the best defense I ever saw. Singletary. They had McMichael up front. They had Hartenstein. There's Mike. They had, and of course, Dan Hampton. Had a whole bunch of players that just scared you to death before the game even started.
What other defenses, if any, would you put on par with the 85 Chicago Bear defense?
Pittsburgh Steel Curtain in the 70s and the Cowboys Doomsday defense of the 60s. Those three, I think, stand out more than others.
So after the safety, it's the Camarillo punt taken by Jeff Graham. And some extracurricular activity by Flanagan. The Bears defense is fired up. And while we get things settled down here, let's go to New York and Greg Gumbel. Greg?
All right, Dan, Jaguars are rolling in Cleveland. The longest running streak of pass attempts by a quarterback in the league without an interception has come to an end. Vinny Testaverde, 174 straight until Mickey Washington picks this one and goes 48 yards for the touchdown. Jacksonville 13, Cleveland nothing in the second. Dan?
Wow.
You got to be kidding. Goodness, 13-0.
15-0 here, Chicago.
Conway.
Rolling to the near side. Curtis Conway has not been touched yet until he gets to the Oiler 41.
But that breaks the streak. He didn't score.
Oh, he's in a major slump.
That's a bootleg by Eric Kramer that was well disguised and completely fooled Houston. Certainly cut down his average there too, didn't he? He had 1 for 76 in the score, now 2 for 94.
So 1st and 10 from the Oiler 39. The Bears threatening to get this one out of hand in the first quarter. There's still 1:30 left. Flags come in. Stop play as Salam barrels his way to the 32. Chicago survived, and I mean survived, a couple of narrow escapes against the expansion teams the last couple of weeks. They beat Carolina, and then they won at Jacksonville last week, but they were narrow wins.
And all by big plays late. Dave Wannstedt brought that to our attention.
Offside, 95 defense, 5 yards, repeat first down.
Kenavis McGee called for the penalty.
This is not what Jeff Fisher had in mind. You see what you were just talking about. There are the close ones right there. And of course, against Green Bay, Wannstedt brought to our attention the fact that Donnell Wolford gave up a 99-yard touchdown.
So 1st and 5. Salam trying to pick it up. He'll be well short. On the contrary, it is the Houston Oilers who have lost a couple of close games the last 2 weeks. Of course, they had the bye last week, but they lost to Jacksonville and at Minnesota. Both losses just came in the last minute of the ball games.
And that's the problem when you have a new bunch here. You know, you don't know who you got. You're not really sure what kind of football team you have, and Jeff Fisher is not liking what he sees out here today.
2nd and 4. Kramer working the play action. Wide open is Graham, and he's got lots of room. Spins and weaves his way to the 16 or 17-yard line. Gain of 15 for Graham.
Now what they're doing, what Chicago is doing, is clearing out. Play action fake up front holds linebackers. Clearing out. You're going to see watch the defensive backs move back after the play action fake draws the linebackers up. And there's a nice little gap in there. And Eric Kramer is finding receivers open all over the place. See the clear out? They drop the receiver underneath Conway. He makes the catch. And again, yards after the catch.
The end of the first quarter in Chicago. A couple of field goals by Butler, a big touchdown by Conway, and a safety by the Bears defense has given them a 15-0 lead. This is the NFL on NBC. ankle, part of the famed junkyard dog defense of '85. Looks like he's about ready to get on a Harley Davidson and maybe ride out of Soldier Field after this is over.
Yeah, still hasn't cut his hair. That's Peyton on the sideline, the Bears sideline.
Hall of Famer Peyton and Rashaan Salam, who hopes to follow in his footsteps. And you mentioned that Walter Payton gives advice to Rashaan Salam, and he's been a real fixture on the Chicago sidelines. Not just for today because of the reunions. Walter Payton spends a lot of time with the Bears.
Yeah, Dan, I think he realizes the opportunity that the Bears have with Rashaan Salam. He likes a lot of what this kid shows. Got guts, very strong runner. The more I can do for this kid, the better it helps the Bears, which helps Chicago.
Opening moments of the second quarter, Bears threatening again, already with a 15-0 lead. A flag is down as Graham is unable to haul in the Kramer pass in the end zone.
Yeah, that's going to be on Salam. Kind of kicked him out of his stance a little bit, and they had two guys moving. First mistake they've made all day.
Legal motion, 31 offense, 5 yards, repeat second down.
He was just a little anxious. You know, I read where Walter Payton told Rashaan Salam one of the big keys to playing in the NFL. There's sweetness right there, number 34. Don't tip off where you're going with your stance. And don't look at the spot where you're going to run the ball. Those two things, he told Salam. I guess the rest is all right, huh?
Yeah. Walter Payton will be addressing the crowd here today at halftime. He'll be the keynote speaker of the Bears reunion as Jeff Graham hauls in the catch. Close to the first down. Don't believe he got it. Darryl Lewis, the right corner for Houston, brought him down. But they may measure. They don't have far to go. Just barely got it.
Well, Jeff Fisher is looking at a quarter where his team fumbled. They had no first downs, 17 yards of total offense, and his defense allowed 229 yards.
Not the kind of game a former Bear would have liked coming back to Soldier Field. He admitted, although he's tried to stay away from it, that he would feel some of the emotions in Chicago, but things not going his team's way at all. This is Salam. First and goal, brought down by Gary Walker. There's Jeff Fisher.
Now, we showed the picture of Jeff Fisher with that '85 team, and he brought to our attention, look at my left ankle. It had a cast on it. That's why he couldn't play, and that really ran him to coaching. Followed Buddy Ryan to Philadelphia, then to Phoenix, then to Houston. Now it's his team, and still Buddy Ryan's defense.
He's got a challenge. 2-14 the Oilers went last season. Kramer looking for the end zone, and Conway, a flag comes in.
Good call.
That was Darryl Lewis on the coverage of Conway, and he was probably caught.
Yeah, it looked like Lewis lost his footing, fell down to the legs of the receiver, and therefore the contact and the flag.
Pass interference, 29 defense in the end zone. The ball was spotted on the 1-yard line, first down.
Chicago has really picked on these guys. See if we can see if Lewis, in fact, loses his footing. He's going to be down at the receiver's legs, and that knocks Conway down. Yeah, I think he slipped, and that's why he was down there, and that's a good call. That's an easy call.
So there's the football now for the Bears, first and goal again. Salam diving, and he will be short.
You notice who's in there in front of him as a blocking back?
No, he won't be short. Touchdown. Now flags come in. You're right. That was Jim Flanagan, number 99, paving the way for Salam. Let's hear about the flags.
Number 70 and number 99 had reported to the umpire. The touchdown is good. No foul.
There's Flanagan, short yardage fullback, after the fashion of William the Refrigerator carry. Is 99 sitting right in front of him. Rashawn Salaam fires in there, just hit anybody in a white jersey. Looked to me like he broke the plane. Comes down on the goal line. They give him the touchdown.
Butler in for the point after to try to make it 22-0. You mentioned the fridge, Bob. He and Jim McMahon will not be here at the reunion today, the '85 Bears reunion. McMahon, of course, is a backup quarterback in Cleveland, and the fridge, well, he's been hibernating in South Carolina. We'll be right back. You never know with Todd Sauerbrunn. He is set to kick off for Chicago, but really he was a quality punter in college, Trump. He set the single season punting average of better than 48 yards his single year. He broke Reggie Roby's career NCAA Division 1A record with a better than 46-yard average. A mark that stood for 12 years, but his kickoffs have been less than consistent. This one taken at the 3 by Mel Gray. One of the best to ever do it in the business is across the 40 and into Bears territory at the 44. 53-yard kickoff return by Mel Gray. And as the Chicago Bears have built the big lead here as we are in the second quarter, Bob, what has happened? Jeff Fisher's team, he came into this game saying that this game was going to be a turning point perhaps for our whole season. It hasn't gone well at all.
The other thing is Dave Wannstedt and his staff said that the two corners from the Houston Oilers are the two best corners in tandem they face. Well, they picked on those corners throughout the first quarter and a half here. They were either lying to us or both Lewis and Dishman are having terrible days, but the net result is Chicago owns this game, Dan.
The one bright spot was Gray's return, which sets up Houston in business in Bears territory, but Marion Butts is strung out by the pursuing Chicago Bears defense. And Jeremy Lincoln now in the face of a rookie, Chris Sanders.
Games get to this point, 22-0 second quarter. Things can get out of hand quickly. The officials have to make sure that they have complete control of this football game because frustration will set in immediately.
Marion Butts actually lost a yard. So second down and 11 for Chandler. As the rookie Sanders in motion. Chandler rolls out and finds Haywood Jeffries.
Chandler's pass.
The 9-year veteran out of North Carolina State who was on the receiving end of quarterback Eric Kramer in college at North Carolina State. So there's a long-time connection, and they're reunited on the field, although opposite ends.
Yeah, Haywood Jeffries told us that they started out at North Carolina State running the option, and then they kind of went to the pro style. He thought Eric Kramer was an excellent thrower of the football. Of course, Jeffries, the lone survivor of that run and shoot as a receiver.
The purge of the run and shoot receivers. Third down and 4. And the game wanted Jeffries, but Lewis was coming across the middle. He may have been the intended receiver for Chandler.
And the tight end slipped a little bit. Wasn't much of a receiver there for Chandler.
Chris Chandler is a very superstitious player. In fact, we didn't even meet with Chris Chandler. Normally we get a chance to talk to the starting quarterbacks. Chris Chandler, I guess, had such a great game against Cincinnati earlier in the season. He did not meet with some of our announcers, so therefore he had a great game. He says, I don't want to meet with you guys because I want a big game here in Chicago.
Yeah, so much for that.
Well, they're going for it on 4th down and 4. And they pick up the first down. It is Todd McNair out of the backfield. And McNair, we mentioned, back for the first time. Was inactive last game due to a foot injury.
That may be, if I'm not mistaken, that may be Houston's first down of the game.
Indeed, it is.
And there's 11:19 to go in the second quarter.
Wow.
That's what you call your slow start.
Here it is, 11-1. Chandler, and he loses the football. I believe he fell on it, so the Oilers will keep it.
My my goodness, what else can happen? Now, they've had 10 days off now. And Jeff Fisher treated them kindly. He didn't beat him up over that 10-day period. Gave him a break, tried to get him to recoup, regenerate. They have shown no signs of any rest whatsoever. They look awful on offense.
Just shoves it over the middle to McNair. And McNair will be short of the first down. That'll bring up third down. Joe Kane, the Bears middle linebacker, made the stop on McNair. Of course, spent his first 5 years with Kansas City, and this is his second year with Houston.
They consider him a big guy to have back. An excellent receiving back out of the backfield. Someone that will put pressure on Joe Kane as a middle linebacker. There's McNair. Had a, what was his injury? He had a shoulder injury? Foot injury. Foot injury.
And in fact, he kept his status as the leading receiver, even though he's missed the last 1.5 games. And over the middle, and fumbling the ball is Michael Rohn. The Bears have it. Michael Rohn, the rookie out of Wisconsin, making his very first NFL start, fumbles the football. And it is Theory who comes up with it.
That's his second fumble recovery, John Theory, for the Chicago Bears.
And Chicago has the ball back already, leading by 22.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Honda, who offers an impressive family of cars, sports utility vehicles, and minivans. By Nintendo, remember, whenever you play, play it loud. By the new Braun Flex Integral, for Braun's closest shave yet. And by the Pepsi Cola Company, who reminds you that nothing else is a Pepsi.
Dan Hicks with Bob Trumpy. It has been all Bears. Houston turns it over for the second time already, and Chicago sets up at the 17-yard line. Rashaan Salam dragged down at the line of scrimmage. So Houston gets its only highlight of the game after an excellent kickoff return by Mel Gray. They get deep into Chicago territory, and they turn over.
In fact, Jeff Fisher commented to us last night that Mel Gray has turned out to be a leader. It's very unusual for a kick return specialist to be a leader, but that's how short of leaders they are on this football team. With all the new people that Houston's had to bring in here to get over the run and shoot, these guys don't even know each other.
Highest paid return man in NFL history, Mel Gray. And Kramer going deep downfield. It's Conway who almost coerced the football back in with one hand, or maybe just fingertips. Chris Dishman was running alongside him.
But very few quarterbacks in the NFL can run alongside of Conway. Excellent speed. Ran track kind of as a hobby at USC. One-handed. Oh, just can't quite get it to bounce. He was a high school quarterback and really thought about playing in the Big 8. Wanted to be like Turner Gill in Nebraska or Jamel Holloway of Oklahoma. Went there, didn't like it, went back to USC, had some academic problems. A young man with great speed, and now he has the confidence, and so now he's really dangerous, Dan.
You mentioned his quarterback background. He has a touchdown pass to Keith Jennings. Came in '94 as Chicago calls a timeout. And they lead it 22-0, 8:43 left in the half. There's a look at the youngest member of Dave Wanstedt's coaching staff, 30-year-old Mike Shula, entering his third season as tight ends coach.
Youngest son of Don. He's not only the tight ends coach, but also signals into the sideline the plays to the quarterback.
All SEC quarterback as a senior at Alabama. Third now, down and long, and they pick up the first down. At least Jeff Graham seemed to have the momentum across the sticks, and he should get it. Tamur Barnes on the stop. He's the nickelback for Houston.
Dan, the slant run by Chicago has worked to perfection today. That's about the fourth time we've seen that quick setup by Kramer, 3 steps, and the receiver catch the quick slant. It's not unusual against a 46 defense, against a pressure defense like Houston, to have that pattern open that much in the first half.
He likes to spread it around. Graham and Conway came in with the exact number of receptions. It has been 25 years since a pair of wide receivers has combined for 1,000 yards each, and this is Conway on the end around reverse. Gain of 19.
Well, they're reaching the back section of their playbook for this particular game.
They've just about used everything.
Yeah, everything that they've tried works. Bishop, 23, finally makes the tackle. You see how the defense over pursues, and again the great speed of Conway. Bishop, 23, catches up to him, but another big gain by the Chicago offense. Doesn't even work this well in training camp.
Conway, #1 pick at USC in his 3rd year. Really took a lot of heat from the media and a lot of folks because they thought that he hadn't really produced enough. He had just 4 touchdowns in his first 2 seasons before he's turned it on here in '95. We talked about how they needed everything they could get. The Northwestern cheerleaders do double duty.
I mean, they're used to being around winners now. There was a story in the paper in Chicago, the Chicago Tribune. Wait a minute, I'll give you this headline. This is a headline I won't forget.
I'm looking forward to it. 2nd and 5. And the pitch to Salam. Close to first down yardage. Just depend on where they mark him out. Good block up front for the left guard, Todd Perry, to spring Salam.
All right, yesterday, Chicago Tribune, they talked to a student on the campus of Northwestern about the upcoming game against Wisconsin. Northwestern's 5-1. This student says, it's a female student. She says, we're smart and we can beat you. It's revenge of the nerds. And yesterday they win and they go 6-1. And the cheerleaders aren't tired of watching winners.
And you know how they usually go into the celebration after the game to interview students and fans that have been able to make it to homecoming. Were some of the most intelligent post-game interviews that I have ever heard. In fact, I heard more than a few co-eds reciting the 3rd down completion percentage for Northwestern and how impressive it has been and the key to the season.
Yeah, I heard that too. And they carried out to the 5th decimal point. They didn't just go 44.2. It was 44.2679996.
Of course, the Dewey Decimal System. Well, through all of that, the Bears have picked up a first down.
Are we surprised?
And they're at the Oiler 37. And Kramer looking for Graham. Graham not able to make the one-handed, left-handed grab. San Francisco beating the Rams 17-3. And Miami, or the Dolphins need a win. They're in the Meadowlands against the Jets.
Tough completion, but Graham again was open. To this point in this game, the Bears have 8 plays that are 15 yards or more.
And there's that Jacksonville shocker, 13-6. It was the Bears who barely survived Jacksonville last week. 2nd down and 10. And the delay, and this is our first look at Robert Green. His 4th year out of William & Mary. He's the 2nd leading rusher for Chicago. Doesn't like to play behind Salam. Thinks he'll be a starter somewhere someday soon.
He is a complete back. He catches the ball very well.
Similar haircuts?
Similar haircuts, yes, that's right. Although he comes out of William & Mary, and generally players out of William & Mary, it takes them a few years to establish that they can play the game. There's not a lot of respect given to players out of schools like William & Mary.
And he finished his career there as the all-time leading rusher. 3rd down and 8. Kramer flips it over the right side, and it's complete to Anthony Johnson. And Anthony Johnson has his 10th reception of the season, 1st of the game.
Man, this is amazing.
But it'll be short of the first down. Blaine Bishop makes the stop.
They actually stopped the Bears. What's going on here?
And here we go. Kevin Butler. This will be a 47-yard attempt, his longest of the season. He has a streak of 12 straight, and let's see what happens.
Ooh, he hit it.
just inside the upright. The streak is alive. And that one from 47, much more substantial than the 20-somethings that have given Butler the streak. The hold by Sauerbrunn, and Butler punches in his third straight, 13th straight on the season. 25-zip. There is Todd Sauerbrunn on the sidelines as the Bears kick off. They have elected to go with Kevin Butler. His leg not as strong as Sauerbrunn, but Sauerbrunn's been inconsistent, but a pretty good boot by Butler as Gray comes out from the goal line, and another good return by Mel Gray. 52 yards on the previous one. He takes this one out 29 yards before James Burton makes the stop. Important possession, Bob Trumpy, for Houston here?
Absolutely, because in the first half they have been inept. Houston has been totally inept. Look at that. One play to fumble, 3 and a punt twice, the safety, 7 and a fumble. They still only have 1 first down, 4:26 to go in the first half.
Remember, this game began with back-to-back turnovers, but the Bears have righted their ship and lead at 25-0. Chandler unable to connect.
Off target. The receiver was standing still. It was Todd McNair, 48. And when a receiver is standing still, the quarterback has got to get that ball between the numbers. And that particular throw by Chris Chandler was about 2 yards off. That's all it took for the incompletion.
Well, he injured his shoulder late in the game against Minnesota a couple of weeks ago, so the off week has proved to be good. But when Chris Chandler is on, and we'll talk about his game against Cincinnati earlier this year in a moment, he can get red hot. Plenty of time to throw here, and he's got a man open. And it's complete. Malcolm Seabrook. And that is the very first reception in the NFL for Malcolm Seabrook. 31 yards.
It's also a flag.
Flag, though, is down at the 40. We'll see if it comes back. No.
Against the defense.
So the first NFL reception for Seabrook stands.
Illegal contact. Defense. No number reported. Penalties declined. First down.
Wait a minute. That's new. No number reported. Seabrook is on the outside. He's on the inside. There's the collision. How do you call it on one and not the other?
Well, we'll report the number as Marty Carter, number 23.
23. Pretty easy to pick up.
Jeff Fisher told us that Malcolm Seabrook would have 5 or 6 receptions today. That is the first one of the day. Chandler near side. This one complete. And it's complete to the veteran, Haywood Jeffries.
Well, the Houston Oilers are now in a situation where, as much as they don't want to be a run and shoot offense, they have to basically go back on every snap and throw it. That's the only way to get back in this football game. And of course, Chicago has to help by turning the ball over. Jeff Fisher wants balance in his offense, but they're done running for the day.
Second down. And on the ground is Todd McNair.
That one doesn't count.
The Oilers.
That one doesn't count. Second and inches. Second and inches. That one doesn't count. I mean, they have to think pass every single play, unless it's second, third, and short. They're even going with a hurry up here, Dan.
Chandler brings him to the line. First and 10. Fires across the middle. Low. Not able to get a hand on it. Jeremy Lincoln on the coverage was Chris Sanders.
Chandler slipped. Back foot slipped out from underneath him. Ball went right down into the ground.
Well, Trump, we mentioned the Cincinnati game earlier this year when Chris Chandler went 23 of 26. He just missed the NFL record for the highest completion percentage in a single game.
352 was the yardage, 4 touchdowns. He was throwing it underhanded when they were being completed. It was amazing.
Now he's trying to get his team back into this one. And he's going long for the end zone. And the touchdown. Todd McNair. 24 yards. So maybe Chandler and the Oilers have found a spark. There's a flag in the end zone.
That was linebacker coverage. Barry Minner, 92 on Todd McNair. McNair ran the nice pattern out and up. Chandler threw it beautifully. Unsportsmanlike conduct against Houston
After the touchdown.
There's a touchdown on the play. Taunting, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 48, offense. 15 yards will be enforced on the kickoff.
Now McNair knows better than that. He's been around long enough, knows the rules. I mean, the score is 22-6. Read the scoreboard. No reason to taunt this early.
25-6 Bears. You forgot about a field goal by Butler.
I have lost track. 2-point conversion here.
2-point conversion now for the Oilers. And Chandler will try to run it in and get the 2 points. That was by design and a good call.
Quarterback draw. Yeah, quarterback draw. They spread the defense beautifully with 4 wide receivers. Jeff Fisher continues to coach, and we're going to go back to the touchdown. Anytime you can design a play where you get a running back on a linebacker, and here's the linebacker, 92-minter, it's an out and up. Chandler needs lots of time for this to develop, and an excellent catch by McNair in the end zone. First score of the day, both feet down. And again, watch McNair. Here's the pattern, out and up the sideline. It needs time to develop. He gets protection, turns out, Minter bites, turns up, and then his speed carries him to the end zone. That's a perfectly thrown pass by Chris Chandler.
Very first touchdown of the season for Todd McNair, and just the 3rd offensive touchdown in the last 12 quarters for Houston. They get the 2-point conversion, and it's now 25-8.
Chris Chandler there in the picture. This is his 5th team in 6 years. And if you lined up all the quarterbacks in the league, this kid's got one of the strongest arms. And coaches love strong arm quarterbacks. But he's always been inconsistent. He misses the easy pass, makes the tough one.
So here is Houston now, with the penalty to kick off from the 15-yard line, as we remind you that the Domino's halftime report is coming up. Mike Ditka, Joe Montana, Joe Gibbs, a full house in our New York studios. Scores and highlights, plus a preview of the big game, Kansas City versus the Denver Broncos. Del Greco kicks this one back, and at the 30-yard line is Nate Lewis. Lewis is quickly into Oiler territory. We mentioned that he came in as the 2nd leading kickoff returner in the NFL, better than 27 per kickoff return. And he gets a good one there.
Well, again, now the plus is Houston scores, but with the taunting penalty on McNair, Chicago gets great field position with 3:01 to go. They can think another touchdown here in the first half. They may not be done in this first half.
But there is a ray of hope for Jeff Fisher and the Oilers. They go in the locker room with 25-0. That's not much to build on at all, but they did get the score 25-8. Just 3 minutes left in the half, and good defensive play there by Henry Ford in his 2nd year out of Arkansas.
At this point, he's played like an Edsel, though, unfortunately.
So look at the other scores from around the league. Miami 9-zip over Jets. Tampa Bay 5-2.
Oh,
here's the Jacksonville score 20-6 as they get ready to go to halftime.
What has happened
in Cleveland?
Yeah, what's happened to Cleveland?
They lost game 1 of the World Series last night.
That's true.
There's Jeff Graham near sideline, first down for Chicago.
I did not think Chicago could come in here and in facing the Houston Oilers defense in Soldier Field have this much success against these cornerbacks. Both Darryl Lewis and Chris Dishman are excellent man-to-man bump and run coverage cornerbacks. And every time you see that bump and run, you know there's a blitz up front. So the blitz has been picked up beautifully by the Chicago front line. And the receivers, Graham and Conway, have beaten these corners like drums in this first half.
And the 2-minute warning in Chicago. with the Bears comfortably in front, 25-8. Right back after this. Now the Chicago Bears trying to take advantage of another miscue at penalty. That is McNair. And it's set up Houston having to kick off deep in its own territory, and Chicago trying to take advantage already at the Oiler 25. Kramer back to pass out of the backfield. This is Robert Green, and Green is wrestled out of bounds for a short gain. Some extracurricular activity now going on the sidelines. That is Jay Lewenberg along with Darryl Lewis.
Green didn't wait for his blockers. If he waits for one offensive lineman to make one block, he may be in the end zone. He got impatient. That's a good call. You got pressure coming here, and to throw the screen, it slows everything down. Like the call, but the execution just was not there.
Dave Wannstedt said, I am worried about the 46 defense of Houston. The keys to winning will be not turning it over, because we don't see it every week. So far, they've been able to just give up one turnover. Kramer's pass almost picked off. It was intended for Timpson. And stepping in front, almost picking off his second pass of the game, was Darryl Lewis.
He should have had this one. This is the post corner. You fake inside, go outside. Kramer looks right to look off the free safety. Lewis breaks on this ball beautifully, and actually Timpson kind of floats there waiting for the ball. If Timpson makes that interception, and he should, if Lewis makes that interception, and he should, a little life for the Houston football team.
Now this is a big play for the Houston defense. 3rd down and 8. Kramer, pass complete. Green will be short of the first down, but that gives Kevin Butler a little bit shorter field goal attempt as we reach the 1:30 mark remaining in the first half, and the crowd probably chanting for Wannstedt to go for it.
Yeah, Wannstedt's on the sideline talking to Kevin Butler, and Sauerbrunn right there. Houston takes the timeout to stop the clock, because Chicago was going to let the clock run down as far as they possibly could.
Well, it would be a 35-yard attempt about for Butler. We'll check it out when we return.
He should have had that one. There was no mistake.
Well, Kevin Butler will get a chance to go 14 for 14 in field goals this season. This one a 35-yard attempt. He already has a 28, 22, and a 47. This for his 4th straight field goal of today. Sauerbrunn the hold. This has plenty of leg, and Butler is perfect.
He may never miss again.
Especially if he gets relatively short field goal attempts, but he did nail a 47-yarder earlier in the game to keep it alive.
I don't believe that Dave Wannstedt could have envisioned this kind of performance by his team in the first half of this game against Houston. And you draw things up on the chalkboard in the middle of the week. We think this will work. We think this will work. We think this will work. All those things have worked. No question whatsoever.
Well, coming up next on most of these NBC stations, game 2 of our doubleheader. We already alluded to the big one, Kansas City and Denver. Broncos and the Chiefs, and some of you will see Marshall Faulk as the surprising Colts head into Oakland to take on the Raiders, who want to play a game as soon as possible after losing to Denver big time on Monday night. And then some of you will see the Chargers at the Kingdom in Seattle.
Yeah, the Raiders want to play somewhere other than Mile High Stadium quickly.
Kevin Butler keeps his kickoff duties, replacing Todd Sauerbrunn, second-round draft pick, who was drafted because of not only his punting abilities but also his kickoff ability, is on the sidelines. Mel Gray, who's had a couple of return gems the last 2 times he's returned it. This time the Bears stop him quickly at the 25. Dwayne Joseph on the special teams tackle for Chicago.
The thing I've always liked about Mel Gray, as you see Dwayne Joseph, the tackler, he's always been a return man, never tried to be anything else. Didn't want to be a receiver or running back. Most guys, when they come into the league and they put them on kickoff return, punt return, they can't wait to get off. But Mel Gray has taken that role and made an entire career out of it.
Better than 8,000. You saw the 6 kickoff returns for touchdowns. He also has 3 punt returns, a total of 9 in his illustrious 10-year career. Chandler and the Oilers trying to get something going before the first half expires. This is Todd McNair out of the backfield, and the Bears with pretty good defense. Barry Minter chasing him down.
Yeah, Bears now going with 6 defensive backs, a 4-man front, and 1 linebacker. Houston in the hurry up.
At the minute mark. 2nd and 9. Chandler hit. And that was Alonzo Spellman. And the Bears recover it.
They moved Alonzo Spellman from defensive left end to right end this year to help with stopping the run. He beats David Williams around the corner. Number 73, just an outside pass rush. Here's Spellman right here. Gets a good jump around the corner and just knocks the ball out of Chandler's hand.
And Theory recovers it. Number 3 on the game for Theory. Fumble recoveries.
Again, from behind Chandler, you see Williams just can't stay up with Alonzo Spellman, and 94 again. A nose for the football, I think, is the old cliche.
So the Bears with a chance to add to a 28-8 lead after another Houston turnover. This is Anthony Johnson with a reception out of the backfield. That is the 3rd turnover for Houston, and the Bears have been turning them into points. That was about the worst scenario you could have hoped for right before the half to turn it over again.
Yeah, this whole half is biz-bagging.
Kramer going to work. And this is Green. And Green is inside the 5. It'll be 1st and goal for Chicago as the clock stops at 26.
Dan, the only comment I can make here in Houston's defensively is that when Al Smith got hurt, they had to move people around. They get Michael Barrow playing middle linebacker 56. He's just coming back from an injury. Knows the defense, but this whole defense, the calls have to be made correctly by him, Michael Barrow. Been too many open receivers for me to believe that he's making the right calls.
Well, here comes the Oilers, and Kramer deals with it, throws it away, and he had Conway open. But Kramer was under severe pressure.
Look at the smile on his face. Yeah, they put Kramer on the ground, but at 28-8, he got a smile on his face. Everyone read the blitz correctly, I believe. Conway's on the outside. You see the blitz coming. Kramer brings it back. He just didn't have time to really set and throw properly.
2nd and goal from the 3.
Blitz again, Dan.
Here they come. Kramer wide, and it is picked off, and this could go all the way back. This is Darryl Lewis, who will go the distance. 98 yards. His 2nd interception of the game, the most costly for Chicago by far.
For Houston to get back in this game on that play is remarkable.
Houston calls a timeout with 8 seconds left.
Yeah, probably another chance for the 2-point conversion. They got to go with their second one. When Kramer sets up 1, 2, 3, he gives it away by looking immediately. There's also pressure right in front of him. He's heading for Graham. The one-handed grab by Lewis. 98 yards later, Houston back in this game.
He has really been covering some ground for Houston. He had a 78-yard interception return for a touchdown called back a couple of weeks ago in the Oilers' last game against Minnesota. Also had an interception in that game, has 2 today, so 3 interceptions for the 5th-year man out of Arizona. And another look.
There's the pressure you see. It really hurries Kramer. but they've gone to Jeff Graham so much in his first half. He has 6 catches. And when you throw that out pattern, that short out pattern down on the goal line, he better be wide open, and you better have all the steam you can muster on the pass, or this is what happens.
So at 28-14, Al Del Greco to try to make it 28-15 and get the Oilers within 13. And movement on the line with the Bears drawn off. Well, they don't seem to think that they were.
Now, this is a perfect example of what the Bears have suffered with. They can't seem to put anybody away. And they had these guys with dirt over the top of them.
Encroachment defense, number 90. Penalty will be enforced on the kickoff, 5 yards.
So Spellman with the infraction. And while the interception was happening, that was happening to Eric Kramer.
Yeah, that's Henry Ford, 92, right in his chest, and Kramer lies on his back in 98. Oh, I can't believe I threw that.
So the penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. Al Del Greco's point after is good. And hey, all of a sudden it's 28-15 Chicago. Back at Soldier Field, Chicago's lead cut to 13 thanks to Darryl Lewis and his 98-yard interception return for a touchdown. We're checking the record books as far as the longest interception returns for touchdowns. And hopefully we'll have that anecdote for you in just a moment. Del Greco line drives it down, and it's taken at the 20-yard line. And that stops the clock with 5 seconds left. Carter made the return. Well, if you didn't catch our NFL on NBC studio show, some of the headlines, the NFL will review Dave Wyman's hit on Jeff Hostetler. Hostetler's not playing today, and it's very unlikely that the NFL will return to instant replay.
I hope that's not true.
And the NFL will review the Cowboy salary cap involving Deion Sanders. Huge deal with the Cowboys, but an interesting game has unfolded here in Chicago. The Bears looked like they were going to roll away with it. The Oilers get a big interception return for a touchdown and cut the lead to 28-15 at halftime.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza. When it's gotta be great and it's gotta be now, it's gotta be Domino's.
Welcome, everyone, back to our studios here in New York, along with Joe Gibbs, Mike Ditka, Joe Montana. I'm Greg Gumbel. Here's scores and highlights as we have them for you right now. Beginning with the game at Soldier Field in Chicago that you're watching, the Bears leading the Houston Oilers 28-15. It was a comfortable 28-8 lead for Chicago until in the final moments of the first half, Eric Kramer threw this one. Darryl Lewis, nice pick, and returns for the touchdown. Mike Ditka, if you are the head coach and you see that happen, tell me about it.
Please.
I know too. I just want to hear what he
listen,
says.
Listen, I've apologized publicly for that. I would never say a word, and Dave Wannstedt wouldn't say a word. Now, let me tell you what's going on with this football team right now. And I tell you, Jeff's going to do it. Jeff Fisher's going to blitz the heck out of them now. That's what they're going with. They're going with a blitz package. Hey, they got nothing to lose. They're losing 28-8. They come back, they get 7 points with a blitz package. That's what they're going to go after the Bears with. But the Bears are playing very good football on the defensive side of the ball, and that's going to make Dave Wannstedt very happy.
Okay, meanwhile, a good football team capitalizes on mistakes. So you might as well bring up the fact that Joe Montana referred to Curtis Conway as Curtis Conrad in the pregame show. Would you like to do an about face on that?
Yes, I apologize. Even though Notre Dame beat USC and he's a Trojan, I do humbly apologize to him.
Yeah, Robert Conrad, how the West was won. That's it.
His humility staggers us. Meanwhile, in St. Louis, the Rams and the 49ers minus Steve Young today. In comes Elvis Gerbach, throws 2 touchdown passes in the first half. Ken Norton, an interception return for a touchdown. The 49ers lead the Rams at halftime 24-3. At the Meadowlands, the New York Jets have come back and have scored a touchdown. They now trail the Miami Dolphins by a score of 9-7. Fans upset with the results on the playing field and the rates in the parking lot. Battle of backup quarterbacks here. Bernie Kosar scrambles out of the pocket, finds O.J. McDuffie for a 20-yard gain. That sets up one of 3 Pete Stoyanovich field goals. Dan Marino, looking on, told Chris Collinsworth before the game he'll be back next week. May not be soon enough, though. Look at Bubby Brister. To Wayne Krebet, the rookie. And the Dolphins' lead is now 9-7. What do you see in this battle of backup quarterbacks, Joe?
Well, I see the importance of backup quarterbacks, period. I think it's one of the most important positions on your team. And really, I liked what Miami did with Bernie. I think this guy can play. I don't think they're going to lose because of him. And the backups are playing all across the league. It highlights the importance. In the first half, Bubby only got 50 yards. He's going to have to play better than that. Looks like he's off to a good start in the second half.
And, Mike, the Jets have been in this game all day.
Well, they've been in the game because of their defense. And you know, Miami's moving the ball. I mean, they're making plays, but they're not really getting any points out of it. You know, with 3 field goals, you can't do that. But the thing I want to say about the Jets is I think Bubby's a backup, and I think he's probably a pretty good backup. But I don't think you're going to win a lot of games with him. I mean, they lost their quarterback 2 years ago, and they lost Jeff Blake. Jeff Blake was a good football player. That's why he's working in Cincinnati right now. They had a chance at him. They blew it.
All right, Mike, the Miami Dolphins trying to avoid a nosedive. They lead at 9-7 in the third. At Tampa, Atlanta got 2 touchdown passes in the first half from Jeff George. 14-14 now in the third quarter. In Cleveland, Jacksonville and the Browns, it's a 20-0 lead for the Jaguars. At halftime, offensive coordinator Kevin Gilbride of the Jaguars looking for more from his team. Mark Brunell avoids the pressure here, rolls left, finds Cedric Tillman in the end zone, 5 yards and a touchdown. Jacksonville leads 7-0. Vinny Testaverde looks for wide receiver Rico Smith, but Mickey Washington steps in front, makes the pick, sets sail up the sideline, 48 yards and a touchdown. The extra point attempt was not good. Jaguars led 13-0 after 2 pass interference calls against Cleveland. Vaughn Dunbar in from the 1 to put Jacksonville up 20-6. But with 12 seconds remaining in the first half, Testaverde 29 yards down the middle. This time he finds Rico Smith, brings the Browns to within 8. The 2-point conversion was no good. It is a 20-12 Jacksonville lead. That game now in the third quarter. Vinny Testaverde showed some heart coming right back at the end of the first half.
He sure did. He got off to a rough start there with the 2 interceptions, 1 run back for a touchdown. He could have just folded right there, and he did. And he kept fighting, come in there, throw a touchdown right before halftime. We'll see how that affects the team when they come back out.
All right, Joe, 2 other scores to tell you about. In Washington, the Redskins hosting the Lions. They're tied at 13 in the third. And at Carolina, the Saints and the Carolina Panthers are tied at 3. They're also underway in the second half. Up next, we'll look ahead to the Chiefs and Broncos by looking back at last year's classic game at Mile High Stadium. And we'll get to that right after these messages from your local station.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza. When it's gotta be great and it's gotta be now, it's gotta be Domino's.
It's a doubleheader day here on NBC. The game most of you will see at 4 o'clock Eastern Time is Kansas City at Denver. Last year, when they met in Denver, John Elway's touchdown scamper with 1.5 minutes left put the Broncos up by 4. But Joe Montana one-upped him. It was probably the NFL's best game of last season.
The folks wanted a shootout between the 2, and they got it tonight. 24-21.
I was watching that game, and I saw John just take the team down the field, and I said, hey, here's another John Elway comeback.
Just to see him all like, yeah, we've won it, we got it won. They take the lead, and we were able to, it's time to come back and take the lead away from them again.
So one thing that I had said to Joe before the drive began was I said, look, they're going to concede some yardage to us, and let's take what's there, and let's try to get the clock stopped in any way that we can.
I had a feeling that it was going to come down to being that whoever had the ball the last would really have to say so.
Joe Montana, I mean, if you give him 20 seconds, he can go down the field on you.
Montana back to throw, 5-step drop, fires a slant, caught by Green. He's inside the, down at the 5-yard line. Montana takes the snap, back to throw, looking right, firing a pass that a leaping grab. Willie Davis, touchdown, Kansas City. Willie Davis, touchdown, Montana man.
always say about Joe Montana is you're never out of a football game as long as he's on your side. We ran into the Joe Montana mystique.
My, how things change from one year to the next. You find yourself here now. Big sigh of relief from Marty Schottenheimer a year ago.
Well, it definitely was. At 0-11 going into Denver, the odds are eventually going to catch up to you, and we almost didn't pull it out for them, but we got lucky there.
You say that the Chiefs are a better team at this time than they were a year ago. Why?
I think a couple things. One, the guys are playing better as a unit offensively. I think the guys, especially on the outside, they're used to the offense. They're making the adjustments quicker. And to be honest, Steve Bono's playing well. His numbers speak for himself, and he's delivering there.
Better than you were playing at this time a year ago?
Better than I was playing at that time, definitely.
Okay, Joe. Joe Gibbs, what's the mystique about going into Mile High Stadium and playing these Broncos?
Well, I tell you what, the best home record in all of football, Greg, and I tell you, I think a lot of it had to do, no matter how we tried to approach the high altitude thing, it seemed to get the best of us. I mean, the medical experts tell us go in and play within 48 hours. It has nothing to do with your team. It doesn't affect you. I tell you, our guys affected us. They came by me huffing and puffing. We needed 48 oxygen tanks over there to even get by in the game.
And Mike, first and foremost, you got to deal with John Elway.
First and foremost, what about the kiss? The kiss was beautiful. Elway's great. I mean, in playing in the offense he's playing in, Mike Shannon and him had to discuss what they're doing. They got him in the shotgun. He's comfortable. They're still running a lot of the West Coast plays, but he's sitting back there where he can see what's happening. He's making that offense go. They're going to be hard to stop in that offense.
All right, gentlemen, another late game today. Indianapolis at Oakland, and the Raiders will be minus Jeff Hostetler, who will have to sit after a vicious hit from Denver linebacker Dave Wyman last Monday night. Those of you who weren't with us earlier, take a look at the video we obtained from the Raiders. On a scramble after an Oakland fumble, Wyman throws a forearm and an elbow. Hostetler sustained an injury to his throat. This same piece of footage is being sent to the NFL office and will be reviewed this week. Wyman was ejected from the game and fined $4,000. The Raiders think that is inadequate. There's the entire slate of games coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, featuring all 5 teams from the NFL's strongest division, the AFC West, and our NFL on NBC halftime activities continue.
Well, they have just finished honoring the 1985 Super Bowl Bears team. It's 28-15, Bears over the Houston Oilers. Dan Hicks back with Bob Trumpy, and not a championship-like effort, at least late in the second half for Eric Kramer and the Bears. That was a costly interception turnover.
Very poor choice by Eric Kramer resulted in that 98-yard interception return for a touchdown. The halftime stats, the Chicago Bears have owned the first half. I mean, 20-9, 20-44 to 9-16 in possession time. Only 4 first downs for Houston, and yet they are in this game.
Coors Light halftime stats as Chicago kicks off. And Mel Gray, who had a couple of nice returns in the first half, brings this one out across the 35. A flag has been thrown back at the 16. John Mangum, the special tackle for the Bears, but let's wait and see about the call, and it's against Houston.
Well, again, they start very poor field position. I don't know what Jeff Fisher would tell his team at halftime. Dan?
Illegal block, 52 with the return team. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Yeah, that brings Houston back deep in its own territory. Well, Jeff Fisher gave the team a real tongue lashing in the last game a couple of weeks ago at Minnesota, and kind of woke the Oilers up. And they still lost in overtime against the Vikings, but I'd love to have been there because it was not pretty.
This was a very poor performance in the first half by Houston, saved by Darryl Lewis at the end of the half. Helped a great deal by Eric Kramer and the Bears.
By the way, that 98-yard interception return for a touchdown, the longest in Oilers history since Pete Jackwis returned one the same distance for a touchdown in '64. Begin this drive on the ground. This is Marion Butts for good yardage. He's across the 15, and let's go back to the interception just before the first half ended.
All right, Dan, here's the mistake that the Chicago Bears make. Here's the intended receiver. The outside receiver is supposed to run a slant. He runs the drag. Kramer gets pressure from Henry Ford, can't get anything on it, and it's a simple interception. They don't do anything to influence Darryl Lewis. And Darryl Lewis makes the one-handed pick, and by himself gets Houston back in this game.
Second down and 2 from the 16. Gain of 8 for Butts. Chandler flings it out in the flat. It's complete. Roderick Lewis makes his first reception of the game. 7th on the season.
Now, see, what that interception return for a touchdown does is it it allows Houston to go back to its basic offensive game plan. If the key drive is this drive. If they score on this drive, suddenly Houston has recaptured, one, a lot of momentum, two, some incentive for their second half. Without that interception, they are out of this game.
Can you imagine if Chicago would have scored? It would have been 35-8 at halftime. The flip side, 28-15. The Oilers in it. Butts with another carry on first down.
Now the Bears offense just made it very difficult on the Bears defense to begin this second half, and Dave Wannstedt knows it, and his concern about this team is they can't seem to put people away. And again now, they've given just a flicker of life to a team they have totally dominated for 2 quarters.
Second down and call it 5.
Check opposite, check opposite. Yes, and go, Brad, 20.
Carried by Chandler. Play action fake, and he's going downfield, far sidelines, and he wanted Chris Sanders. And a flag has been dropped.
Yeah, but the flag was dropped, but I think he's signifying the guy ran out of bounds. Although there is a flag and a hat on the field.
Well, if you've been pushed out of bounds, you can come back in. That's the new NFL rule this season.
And there's the hat. That signifies that he's out of bounds. There's also a flag on the ground.
Well, it's up to Ron Blum to sort it out. It's not been a pretty game. There have been penalties on both sides. A total of 5 turnovers, 3 by Houston and 2 by Chicago.
The side judge is the gentleman who threw his hat and his flag. Here's the call. Roughing the passer and pass interference both on Chicago.
Let's get some audio.
Wait a minute, there's no
personal foul, roughing the passer, 96 defense. That penalty is declined. Pass interference, 36 defense. That penalty is accepted. First down.
But I did not see the flag back by the quarterback.
Didn't either.
Well, one of the officials just threw him the flag. Here's Fontenot. Well, there was certainly no question about that, but the receiver now, you're going to see him go out of bounds, pushed out of bounds a little bit. Right there, he's out of bounds, and the flag, so
35-yard penalty is the bottom line as Houston sets up at the Chicago 30, 1st and 10. Chandler, and just simply throwing this one well over the head of Sanders.
And again, Chandler was lobbying for pass interference. There was contact. I don't think that ball was catchable. Sanders, who was the other receiver at Ohio State with Joey Galloway. Sanders got no press because Galloway got so much. Yeah, there is incidental contact there. Lincoln and Sanders.
3rd round pick out of Ohio State. Sanders, who was mentioned teamed with Joey Galloway. 2nd and 10. And this time they give it to Butts. Butts maybe 2 yards, but they have really abandoned Rodney Thomas on the ground. He came into the game as the leading rusher, but Marion Butts picking up most of the carries, and now a little attitude.
Like Sanders and Carrier, number 20 for Chicago, pushing and shoving a little bit there.
Second skirmish by Sanders. He said he's being talked to as a rookie this year. And he says he's not going to put up with it anymore.
Yeah, a little elbow thrown by Jeremy Lincoln, then it continues. That's why they put those face masks on. They make great handles when you push and shove. Great handles.
3rd down now. 0 for 5. Going for Haywood Jeffries. Oh, incomplete. Good coverage. Wolford was right with Jeffries.
And you can see what they're trying to do. Jeffries at almost 6'4", and Donnell Wolford about let's make him 5'10", and that's stretching it a little bit. Chandler tries to put a nice arc underneath this ball so that Jeffries can run under it. He almost out jumps Wolford, tries to make the one-handed catch. Wolford just knocks it away.
So now Al Del Greco has come on This would be a 47-yard attempt, officially 46. And this one is hooking left and no good. So after all of that, Houston comes up empty and still trails it by 13.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by the new Dodge. We're thinking ahead. By Black & Decker. It's how things get done. By American Express. And by Coors Light. Shipped cold to preserve the clean taste of the Rockies. Coors Light. Tap the Rockies.
Houston Oilers with an impressive drive to start the second half, but they come up empty. And Chicago now set at the 36, 1st and 10. They lead at 28-15. And the give is to Salam. Rashaan Salam, who had 70 yards in the first half. That is his 18th carry of the ball game. Chuck Cecil brought him down, and it seems clear that Salam will be even more active as we begin the second half.
I agree with you. 18th carry on the day, and you know, when Walter Payton began his career with the Chicago Bears, he barely had an offensive line in front of him. Rashaan Salam has a very good and reasonably young offensive line in front of him. He should gain a lot of yards.
Gain 9 there, 2nd and 1. Here he is again, and driving for the first down. Very close. Craig Vesey was there on Houston's front line. And Rashaan Salam trying to break a long string of Heisman busts, if you will, as you look at the list, beginning with Andre Ware.
Yeah, this is where they're playing now. He's up in the CFL. Detmer with Green Bay, Desmond with Jacksonville, Gino Toretto's out of the league, Charlie Ward playing basketball. And it has been somewhat of an albatross to an awful lot of people coming into the NFL, that Heisman Trophy.
Just picks up the first down. And Salam, one previous 100-yard game, it came against Carolina. He had 105 yards, so looking for his second 100-yard rushing effort. I alluded earlier in the game that he wants to make number 31 famous. We were trying to think of a famous number 31 running back in NFL history. Really couldn't come up with anyone.
The only one that I remember is Jim Taylor of the Green Bay Packers. He was a fullback. Horning was the running back, but that 31 was certainly famous in Green Bay.
Kramer to the air, and he's got Jeff Graham. Graham should have another first down for Chicago. They're in Houston territory now. At the 42, Darryl Lewis made the stop.
Again, the slant. Recurring theme. The offensive brain trust of Chicago, Ron Turner, all those involved, they must see cornerback setting outside, so they come with the slant because it's been open an awful lot in this football game.
This is the 4th highest scoring team in the NFL. You would think the Bears defense would be the strength over the years, and the offense very conservative, but they have been putting some points up, and already at 28 today. Now here's the draw to Salam, and he works his way up to the 35.
Look at that leg drive. You see that? I tell you, when this kid becomes more comfortable with just being a professional football player, he's going to run over a lot of people, but he doesn't give up on this run. Just a little delay, as you said. Now the tackle takes place there. He keeps pumping those legs. He's a strong kid. The other thing I like about him after the season's over, he's going back to Colorado to finish up his degree in communication. So he's not going to put all his eggs in the football basket.
The fake to Salam. He wanted Conway incomplete. Well covered. Calling Darryl Lewis's name an awful lot today. He has been everywhere on the field.
That particular time it was a delay outside. Waited for everybody to clear. Lewis came right underneath. Almost picked that one off too. But again, though, Dan, we see offensive dominance by the Chicago Bear offense. Just about anything and everything they can dream up has worked. Just a poor decision on Eric Kramer at the end of the first half. Only thing that allowed Houston back in the game.
Well, Salam is out of the game on 3rd and 4. Green and Johnson split in the backfield. Quick drop by Kramer, far side. Conway had it, and then it's out of his hands, and it's called incomplete. He would have had the first down had he been able to hold on, but Chris Dishman came in and gave him a pretty good pop to Darryl Lewis.
This, again, you're taking a chance with this pass because you've got bump and run coverage by the cornerback. Dishman is all over Conway. Kramer zips it out there. Remember when you need that second foot down for it to be a completion. Catches it cleanly with his hands. 1, 2. Oh, I don't know.
He might have had that.
That looked like a completion and a fumble.
Well, here's our friend, Mr. Sauerbrunn, with his very first punt of the game, trying to pin the Oilers back, and you don't get it inside the 20. I guess a punter does not get his job done, and he hears it from the fans here at Soldier Field.
He may go out and get another tattoo after this performance.
Maybe another earring. Big drive for the Houston Oilers about to begin here from their own 20. Sauerbrunn unable to pin them back any further than that.
That's Tony Wise, the offensive line coach, talking to his offensive lineman. He'll do some coaching now.
Chris Chandler, 11 of 19, 114 yards. He has the 1 touchdown pass to Todd McNair. And here is Marion Butts. Butts gets about 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 7 from there. Well, next Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, it's the Breeders' Cup live from Belmont Park in New York. Cigar trying for the first undefeated season by a major thoroughbred since 1980. Headlines the $3 million Classic. It's the richest day in racing. 12th running of the Breeders' Cup right here live on NBC next Saturday beginning at 11:30 a.m. Chicago with a big advantage in total yards, but Houston still very much in the game. Chandler's pass deflected at the line of scrimmage. Maybe Alonzo.
Yeah, Spellman got his hand up. He's knocked away a lot of passes, but that's a plus and a negative. He's at the line of scrimmage, and David Williams keeps him pretty much at the line of scrimmage and away from the quarterback. He does jump up. He's got a wingspan of about 7 feet 6 inches. He wears a size 18 triple E shoe. That's the size of a small desk.
3rd down. Chandler hanging in there, and wide open was Seabrum, and Seabrum is off to the races, but they're going to mark him down. They're going to mark him down at the Bears 44. It'll be a 34-yard gain by Seabrum, who came into this game with no NFL receptions, and that's his 2nd catch of the game.
Carrier is saying he didn't catch that ball. Of course, Carrier was the guy that had the coverage. Generally, they do that. This is a nice throw by Chandler. Carrier gets his arm in there. Well, the ball does look like it was loose. Fell underneath his elbow. Nice completion. Houston takes a timeout.
And that will stop the clock with 7:13 left in the 3rd quarter. Chicago looked like it would run away with this one early. The Oilers very much in it with the ball with 7:13 left.
Introduce SLT starting at $269 a month.
Well, a beautiful shot there by our director Dick Klein of the Chicago Skyline. Dick doing double duty this weekend. Notre Dame yesterday, coming into Chicago, taking the drive in and getting these marvelous shots. Temperature's got to be close to 60 degrees.
Oh, it's perfect. At least Dick was kind enough to leave the weather in South Bend.
Yep.
Didn't bring it with him. It looked pretty raw.
Houston in Bears territory at the, I'll call it the 43-yard line. They have 1st and 10. Chandler wants to go downfield, has a man wide open. Did he make the catch? Yes. Travis Hanna for 42 yards, down to the 1.
It all goes back to that interception before the half. It gives Houston life. This is a nice pattern run by Travis Hanna. Lincoln is trying to stay with him. There's a little bump. Another guy runs by him. He ran by them all. He ran by 3 of the 4 defensive backs in the Chicago defensive backfield and still makes the catch. Did he make this catch? Let's watch.
Has it. Did he get control?
I'm a former receiver. That's a catch.
Okay. Very first one of the ball game for Seabrook. Houston trying to score now, and they get the touchdown. And it is Frank Wycheck.
He was the up-back. Yeah, he was the up-back. He was going to be the blocking back. They give him the ball the way Chicago did back in '85 to William the Refrigerator Perry.
A certain bear by the name.
Yes, Wycheck is a much smaller appliance. I think you'll admit. I mean,
congratulations, he's got his first NFL touchdown.
Back to life within 7 of the Chicago Bears are the Houston Oilers.
The 98-yard interception return for the touchdown. Can't forget the diving grab by Travis Hanna, good for 42 yards. Wycheck takes it in from 1, and now Al Del Greco with a big extra point attempt, which is good because that puts the Oilers within 6.
And this is unbelievable. Wycheck, the up back, even jumps into the end zone for the score.
Talk about a momentum switch here in Chicago. The Houston Oilers have outscored the Chicago Bears 25-3 and now trail by just 6.
Yeah, so those of you down in Houston who went out for groceries or cut the backyard or come back in, what did I miss? Well, you missed a lot, including a 98-yard interception return for a touchdown at the end of the first half. And Houston is upright and breathing.
Oilers at one point down 28-8. And the Bears reunion team in the sidelines in a state of shock along with Dave Weinstein.
Yeah, the Bears of '85, when they got you down, you were done. They didn't reset their heel. They just kept you there.
Well, the ball blowing off the tee, and now Del Greco will re-tee.
Wind hasn't really been a factor. It always blows here in Soldier Field. I mean, you're only, what, 600 yards from Lake Michigan? And there's always a breeze. No big deal. You can handle it.
Very pleasant day here in Soldier Field. There has been a lot of talk. Look at the stadium here. The field is Travis Hanna. Now we'll probably have to hold this one for Del Greco.
Yeah, Travis Hanna, 82 holding the ball there. Man, he's fired up. These Houston Oilers now feel like they got a chance.
It's turned into a somewhat comical situation. As Del Greco said, hold it right there, Travis.
Yeah, now don't loosen him, Travis. Leave it on the tee. Oh, what's going on here?
Now the officials have come in, including the referee Ron Blum. Kickoff controversy in Chicago. Now we're set. Del Greco's kick, pretty poor, taken at the 12-yard line by Nate Lewis. And Lewis puts the Bears with a 1st and 10 at the 29-yard line. Now the Bears at home over the years have played very well at Soldier Field. Just the Broncos, Niners, and Dolphins with a better winning percentage at home than Chicago.
Yeah, this is since '80, so it certainly includes the Super Bowl champion '85 Bears, where it had nothing to do with the stadium. It was the guys out there in the helmet, including Singletary. Yes.
All right, so Chicago trying to respond to the Houston rally, and out of the backfield is Tony Carter. He takes the pass from Kramer, good for about a 4-yard gain. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Greg Gumbel, what do you have for us in New York?
Dan, I'm glad you asked. At the Meadowlands, Bubby Brister from 3 yards out, waits, finds Johnny Mitchell for the touchdown. The Jets lead the Dolphins 17-16 early in the 4th, Dan.
it be? The Jets pick up a win?
What is happening in the NFL this year?
Happening to Miami. Could be 3 straight. Salam with a good burst, but he fumbles the football and it's loose. Still loose, and the Oilers have it. A flag has also been dropped. Are arguing that Salam maybe should have been ruled down before the fumble.
I'm not sure, but this flag is a long way away from where the fumble took place. I think it's going to be Houston football. Personal foul against Chicago, so you tack 15 yards onto the change of possession.
Unnecessary roughness, late hit, 75 Chicago, 15 yards, first down Houston.
That's on Todd Perry. This game has swung around dramatically. 3rd turnover by Chicago.
Salam, an excellent run up the middle. Leuenberg 58 on the trap. It looks like the hit is made. I can't pick up the number. Somebody came from the backside to knock it loose. Ball bounces around. Dishman, I think, on the recovery, 28, and there's 75 Perry with the penalty. Great field position. Who makes the hit here? Can we pick up the number? Is it Davis? Davidson, 90?
Could have been. There are the turnovers now matched at 3. Chicago's turned them into 10. Houston trying to turn them into more. Out of the backfield. It is complete. That is Rodney Thomas. Haven't called his number in a long time, since perhaps the first half. Ron Cox makes the stop for Chicago.
Rodney Thomas made that fumble on the first series, actually the first play. Haven't seen him with his hands on the ball yet, but this is a rejuvenated football team, courtesy of the Chicago Bears.
It looked like a dead football team earlier. They're trailing now just by 6. 4:48 left in the 3rd. And Thomas gets his 2nd straight call, this one on the ground. A flag also on the ground. And that is against Houston. And the Oilers really, Bob, have self-destructed, specifically in the last couple of weeks, with late, costly penalties.
Illegal hands to the face. 72 offense. 10 yards. Repeat 2nd down.
That's on Brad Hopkins.
Yeah, you're right about the penalties and the mistakes late that have cost them football games. When you're putting together a football team, you don't know how they're going to mesh together. And sometimes guys are trying to do just a little too much. The penalties take place. You know, I don't want to miss this block. This is a key play. And the net result is it just kind of slips away from you.
Well, here's a pretty key play. 2nd and 16. The Oilers want to at least get a good chunk of yardage here to avoid 3rd and long. Chandler buys himself some more time, and diving for the reception is Haywood Jeffries. Actually, Chris Sanders. He was surrounded by a host of Bears and came back to the ball, hurdled himself in to make the catch.
They have yet to decide whether or not it is a catch. They have one guy, one official on the sideline marking the spot where if they say it's a catch, it is. The officiating crew trying to decide if he was hit out of bounds or what, but Sanders was horizontal when he made that catch.
Well, it appeared from the reaction of the officiating crew that he had made the catch. You know, one of the few passes that I've seen be decided complete or not complete by a powwow.
On a committee. But the rule is, if they're going to rule that you were forced out of bounds by the defense, when you hit out of bounds, you better have control of it. Lincoln, 39, makes the contact, and then the ball does come loose. I think that's an excellent call. In amongst all those bodies, I see 5 to make the right call, and we have instant replay here to slow it down. And he comes down. I think the ball is already loose. Good call. How did they make it? But they made it, and it's right.
And it's 3rd and 16. Chandler sets up, and he's got a man complete for the first down. And that is Haywood Jeffries. Good for 19.
Boy, Jeffries knew exactly where that first down marker was, too, Dan. They rolled Chandler to the near side, which cuts down how much field he can look at, but Jeffries runs the in route. He's right in the middle of the zone. He needed about 16, 17. He gets 19. He knew right where he had to go.
Third catch of the game for Jeffries. And the Oilers are on the move. 3:30 left in the third, trailing by 6, 28-22. Over the middle, he wanted Rodney Thomas, and Thomas was getting the business from Ron Cox.
I thought they were going to get a flag on that one. It appeared to me that there was some holding done by Ron Cox. As you look at Chris Chandler's numbers on third down, 65% complete, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's a nice list. There's some good quarterbacks there. Favre, Marino, Hostetler, and Jeff Blake, I think, would surprise a lot of people. But big down quarterbacks know when it's key to convert. Chandler's one of the best.
Here's what he's done on third downs today. And they'll give to Thomas. And that'll bring up third down. Joe Kane on the stop. That'll bring up 3rd and 9. So what's in Jeff Fisher's playbook here?
He turns that playbook over to Jerry Rome. It's Jerry Rome's offense.
He calls him.
Jeff just kind of sits and watches.
Chandler being chased by Flanagan, decides to keep it and takes a shot coming out of bounds. But he pops right up.
It was 24 who made the hit by the Chicago Bears. Kevin Minifield. Chandler took it, got up. And you see Alonzo Spellman chasing him. There's Minifield with the hit. When Chandler gets up, hey, nice hit. That's Spellman on the stomach. Hey, you all right? You okay? You okay?
Well, here comes Al Del Greco. Previously missed one from 46. They will spot this at the 29, so officially a 39-yard attempt. Camarillo is the holder. And that one just crawled over the crossbar.
He topped that one and it still went through.
That will not go in the Al Del Greco field goal kicking resume book. But it gets the Oilers within 3 as the Bears lead has been cut to 3 with 2:11 left in the third. If there was ever a tale of two halves script being written, it is being written here in Chicago. The Houston Oilers have outgained Chicago 127-43 in total yards in the second half. It was almost flip-flopped in the first half. And the previous Al Del Greco field goal, which crawled across the crossbar, did he hit a pad on an elbow there, Trump?
Williams, the offensive lineman, look what happens. Right underneath his elbow pad, still is able to get over the crossbar. I'm beginning to believe that this is the Houston Oilers' day. When the ball goes over the crossbar like that.
The 39-yarder is good by Del Greco, but a poor kickoff. It bounces at the 25. The ball is loose. Finally picked up by the Bears' Nate Lewis, who secures it at about the 27.
Well, now the Bears face the real problem here of having no momentum since just before the first half in. They do not have a second half first down. There you see the yardage that you just gave, Danny. Now what do? They have not done a thing in the second half. And suddenly they have to somehow get control again of this football game.
begins on first down, complete to Keith Jennings. Jennings with first down yardage. He's across the 40, up to the 42. Gain of 16. Chris Dishman put the hit on the tight end.
And boy, they have found receivers open all day long. They have not thrown much to the tight end, but to Dave Wanstadt's dismay, he already knows what he's going to deal with when this game is over, win or lose. And you see Robinson coming on the blitz, tight end open. He's going to say, fellas, somehow we got to complete the deal.
This time Salam is caught behind the line of scrimmage. He'll lose a yard. Eddie Robinson picks him up.
Yeah, and then you begin to see now the Houston Oilers defense come with a little more blitz, put a little more pressure on this offense. Salam fumbled the last time he carried it before that one. Let's see if we can get him to cough it up again.
Let me ask you a question. It was Houston. Jeff Fisher had said, well, normally our 46 package, we blitz about 20-25% of the time. Will that percentage grow as this game goes on this time?
Try to get the turnover again.
Second and 11 on the 1-yard loss. Kramer's pass batted down at the line of scrimmage. Kenny Davidson, number 90, looked like he got a hand on it.
This Bear offense is just slowed to a walk. You know, there's no real enthusiasm in what they're doing. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-step drop and the hitch, and then Davidson gets his hands up. He's on Williams 71, the big cat, 6'7", 330 or 40 pounds.
Against 6'5", Kenny Davidson.
Yeah, Davidson looks like a pup next to Williams, doesn't he?
3 wideouts in now for Chicago. Michael Timpson has joined Graham and Conway. Kramer kind of slipped when he set up, but a nifty grab by Graham for first down yardage at the Oiler 40. 19-yard gain.
That was well done. This is the moment where Eric Kramer can assume a little more control of this football team, and his team have confidence in him. This is a tough throw. He puts it in the perfect spot to be caught. It was Williams, 29, behind him. Chuck Cecil makes the tackle, and another grab by Jeff Graham, who has had a big day.
Another 100-yard day for Jeff Graham in receiving yards. 8 catches for 119 yards. He's got his 8th career 100-yard game, and we still got a quarter to go. The end of the third in Chicago. The Oilers have come storming back. This is the NFL on NBC. Back after these messages from your local station. Scoring by quarters. The Bears had a 28-15 lead at halftime, but they have been outscored 25-3 by the Oilers, who are within 3. But the Bears showing some more offensive signs of life. Rashawn Salam, the 1st and 10 carry, no gain.
Yeah, and unfortunately now you see a very tentative Rashawn Salam. He made that fumble. Now he's not firing at the line of scrimmage the way he was before that fumble. You got to forget fumbles.
Maybe you should go over for another conversation with Walter.
Where's Walter? Get Walter over there. Forget that fumble. Keep carrying it just the way you were doing it before. Don't dance up to the line of scrimmage. Fire up to the line of scrimmage.
The fake right, and they go left side of the field. It's complete. Far side. This is Ryan Wetnight, the tight end.
That's an awful nice job by Eric Kramer. That ball was intended to go right. He turns all the way around to the left-hand side of the field. And Wetnight is not really a candidate for a pass here. He's just an outlet. Coverage is dropped by Lewis. He makes the catch, keeps the drive alive, brings up 3rd and what, 2, maybe 3?
About 3 yards at the Oiler 33. The Oilers, and here comes Robert Green. It'll be short. 4th and short. It'll bring up.
What does Wanstadt do? Does he try for the first down, or does he go for the field goal? He's going. He told Mike Shula, let's get a call in here.
It would be about a 48-yard attempt for a field goal by Butler, who's already connected at 47 yards earlier today.
Decision's already been made here. They're going to bring bring the sticks out, I think, to measure and see how much is absolutely needed. But Wannstedt has already sent in an extra tight end. Keith Jennings, 85, is already in the game.
If he is short, it's just by inches. Just about a foot.
Never stops coaching, never stops pacing. Wannstedt. 24 hours a day he's thinking about this football team.
I think he and Bill Cowher, the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach, will be fixtures in the NFL for what, 30 years down the road?
I agree.
Well liked. Well, a big 4th down and about a foot for Chicago. Kramer will keep it, and Kramer will get it. Robert Green tangled up with a couple of Oilers. But the Bears keep the drive alive inside the Oiler 30.
I like choices like that. Parcells makes a lot of choices on 4th down to go for it. What it does is it puts it on the players on the field. Coaches are on the sideline. They're in front of the chalkboard, but the players are playing. What he's saying is, gentlemen, I have confidence. First down, good call, easy call. I like that. He's saying to the players, you guys can get it done.
Delay of game as the play clock had drifted down to 0.
Delay game, offense, 5 yards, repeat 1st down.
So the Bears move back 5 to the 35.
And that's an unforgivable sin. There's Mike Shula standing right next to him. He gets the calls and he's saying, wait a minute, how did that happen so quickly? What's going on here?
.12:40 left in the game. Houston trailing by 3, 28-25. First and 15, Salam spins his way into a host of Oilers. And I detected more boos cascading down from the Soldier Field stands.
And now the Houston defensive front really coming across the line of scrimmage a lot more aggressively now. But again, Salam very slow out of his stance there.
It does look like a different runner since the fumble. You pointed that out. So now 2nd and 16. It moves out of field goal range. Trying to get back into it. Kramer comes to the near side. And the catch is made. Good for 17 yards by Conway.
Well, that's pretty. I don't know if there's a defensive back in the league that can stop that, because this ball is thrown. When this ball is released by Eric Kramer, Conway has yet to complete his pattern. About now, Conway turns his head around and makes the reception with this Dishman right there close. But that's perfect timing. You can tell these two guys have spent a lot of time in training camp and in practice throwing this pattern.
Both Graham and Conway over 100 yards. Conway only has 3 catches as the Bears call a timeout. Conway had a 76-yard touchdown reception in the first quarter. But Graham and Conway over the 100-yard mark in receiving. The Bears hold on to a precarious 3-point lead.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Red Wolf Lager. Really red, really smooth. Follow your instincts. By Hertz. For business, for pleasure. Nobody does it exactly like Hertz. And by BASF. We don't make a lot of products you buy. We make a lot of the products you buy better.
Just a gorgeous day at Soldier Field. And the Bears holding on to a 28-25 lead. They're inside the Oiler 20, and the pitch to Salam. And he gets decked pretty quickly. In the last 4 rushes, he has minus yardage. Michael Barrow leading the way for Houston on that tackle.
You can see his chin drop a little bit after that fumble. Something he's had a history of here with the Bears. He doesn't like it. And here's the middle linebacker, Michael Barrow, played for University of Miami, and Wanstedt was his linebacker coach down at Miami. Then he left and went to the Dallas Cowboys, but Uncle Barrow is like an adopted son of Buddy Ryan, middle linebacker for the Houston Oilers here.
12th play of this drive. Kramer, quick drop. Jeff Graham, touchdown. Yards. Chris Dishman got beat, but they put on a clinic to beat him.
Read beautifully, executed flawlessly. They saw the blitz, and they take the slant.
And the extra point by Kevin Butler. The Bear lead is 10 points at 35-25.
The Bears recognize the blitz look of the Houston Oilers. Graham on the telestrator is not working. We could draw nice pictures here, but you see the blitz man coverage.
It's pretty clear.
Yeah. Graham with that nice move on that big inside step inside Dishman. Again, when Dishman steps up, look at Graham. Kind of a release to Dishman's inside shoulder. Kramer throws it beautifully. And that is a huge day for Jeff Graham.
He's over 100 yards. Has his first touchdown reception. Kramer has his second touchdown pass to put his total at 95 at 16. Salam is closing in on 100-yard rushing.
I was going to make the comment about Eric Kramer. The only problem was the 2 picks he threw today.
Came in with just 2. Has 2 today. The Bears have put together a pretty good scoring drive, culminating in the 18-yard touchdown by Graham to lengthen their lead to 10 points. Kevin Butler, who has not missed a kick today, continues to have the kickoff duties over Sauerbrunn. Mel Gray hauls it in at the 8 for Houston. Cuts back to the right. Jukes another Bear and gets it up to the 30. He's a pleasure to watch on kickoff returns. Well, game 2 tonight of the World Series. Right here on NBC. Pre-game begins at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. First pitch at 7:27 here on NBC. How about the clinic by the Braves ace Maddox last night in the 3-2 Atlanta win? They have a 1-0 series lead over the Indians.
Unbelievable. Like he brought his own plate. You know,
we were talking. There's probably got to be less dominating no-hit performances than we saw last night in the 2-hitter he threw. Houston down by 10 now. More of a state of emergency with 10 minutes left. Rodney Thomas gets the carry. Pretty good chunk of yardage, 5 or 6.
And Dan, now the Chicago Bears can go back to their base defense, which is a very conservative defense. It's a double rotation coverage, corners up, safeties out. There is no reason to be fancy here. 9:46 and counting in the 4th quarter. Make sure that no one gets behind you. Keep everyone in front of you and make that tackle.
This time, Thomas is caught behind the line of scrimmage by Jim Flanagan. Jim Flanagan, a couple of Notre Damers up there up front in the interior defensive line for the Bears.
Yeah, I started to tell the story about Flanagan earlier when he sat down after the season, kind of reassessed his chances with this Chicago Bear team. Decided on 3 things. 1, he was going to gain 10 pounds. 2, be in the best shape of his life. 3, not miss a day of training camp. He did all 3, and he's the starter.
I like Wanstedt's comment. That guy doesn't need a lot of chop. He's that smart. 3rd and 8. Chandler going deep downfield. It'll be overthrown as Chris Sanders was well covered. Double coverage by the Bears. Carrier and Wolford.
Looks like he came up with a cramp. Trouble walking. You talked about Flanagan. He was born to play in the NFC Central, and his dad was a linebacker with the Green Bay Packers. Or 60, 68 last year, 99 this year. So they look more like a defensive tackle. Only the third year he's played defensive tackle. Went to Notre Dame as a linebacker. Nice kid. Can do your taxes too if you really want.
Oh, yeah?
To. Yes, he's an economics major at Notre Dame.
Have to meet up with him after the game. Camarillo into punt. Jeff Graham from the 21. Gets to the 31, 10-yard punt return by Graham, 46-yard punt by Camarillo. The Bears have lengthened their lead to 10 with 8.5 minutes left.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Call now and have Domino's deliver the ultimate deep dish pizza. Because when it's gotta be deep, it's gotta be Domino's.
Soldier Field, Chicago, one of the all-time great venues in the NFL, and at this time they are playing the Super Bowl Shuffle musical theme from the '85 championship.
That was one of the negatives of the '85 season.
And their sweetness. Oh, he's doing it. He's doing the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Certainly one of the positives.
34. Hall of Famer retired. Jersey. Salam trying to get to the 100-yard mark, but it's taken a lot of carries to get there. He had 95 before that carry.
I don't like what I see here now. I mean, the Bears now lead by 10. They got to fix this kid. They got to get his chin off his chest. That fumble affected him early in the game. I mean, he was firing it in there. Now he is very, very tentative. The guys that usually fumble the ball the most are the guys that get the ball the most. That's the downside of being the premier back in an offense. It's going to happen. They're going to try to get it from him.
Already up to 26 carries. No gain on that play, so he begins with 95 yards on this one. A little better chunk there. Maybe 3 or 4. Brought down by Darryl Lewis.
But look at the way he's walking back to the huddle. He's acting 21 here. He is 21. He's acting 21.
But he was 20 a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, he did go over the 100-yard mark on that carry. He's now got 27 carries for 103 yards. His second career 100-yard game. He takes a breather, and Robert Green is in on 3rd down and 3. Quick fire by Kramer for the first down, and that is Michael Timpson. So Moore Barnes brought Timpson down, and that's Timpson's 3rd catch of the game, 10th of the season.
Man, I don't know when I've seen more slant patterns completed in a football game. Here's another one. I mean, time after time, the Chicago Bears have done an excellent job of surviving the contact with the cornerbacks, getting the receiver open, and making the completion just on a 5-yard little pass.
So first down for Chicago, just short of its own 45. And this quick give to Robert Green. As the clock continues to roll inside 6:25 now. Oilers trailing by 10. They had it to within 3. Jeff Graham. That's been an 18-yard catch to make it 10 points.
Well, I admire the Houston Oilers for coming back in this game. They were down, and the count was 8, and they got off the canvas and got themselves back in this game. Bears help.
Well, there's still 6 minutes left. If they can stop the Bears here, the flag comes in. There's still some life.
Prior to the snap, 81 offense, false start, 5 yards, repeat 2nd down.
Jeff Graham called for the 5-yarder. Bears a league low 179 yards in penalties this season, and that's been a Dave Wanstead trademark.
And that was true when he was an assistant with Jimmy Johnson in Miami. They were a rowdy bunch down there, the Hurricanes, but they weren't penalized a lot. Certainly true in Dallas, and a trend he'd like to continue here in Chicago.
2nd and 15, trying to set up the screen for Green. It'll bring up 3rd and long.
Now, one of the things you need for a screen to work is some protection. And on that particular instance, it looked like a linebacker was just untouched, got right in Eric Green's face. Who puts the pressure on him here? Yeah, it's Kenny Davidson, 90. And then you can't really set your feet like you're going to throw to deceive the defense. The net result is you got to kind of lob it over there and make the best out of a bad situation. He couldn't.
Well, Kramer's put up some big numbers today. He's already over the 300-yard passing mark. Anthony Johnson and Robert Green flanking to the backfield on 3rd and long, and he's going long. It was up for grabs. Incomplete. Timpson was the intended receiver. Chris Dishman was there on the coverage.
Can go either way. I like the release by Timpson. Gets right up next to Dishman, but Dishman is looking back at the quarterback. It's kind of a jump ball, and he can't make the reception.
Todd Sauerbrunn, not a very good punt, even though it does take a bare roll down to the Oilers' 16-yard line. 43-yard punt by college football's all-time best punter.
You had to bring it up.
Had to. Big possession for the Houston Oilers. They begin at their own 17-yard line. 5:17 left in the game, and they trail by 10. Chandler comes right out throwing, and the catch is ruled incomplete as Travis Hanna made a good try for the completion.
Chandler just stretched him out just a little too much to the sideline. My bad. Chandler saying, my bad. I stretched out there too much. Just can't quite get. I don't even think he had control of the football either. Close. But the Bears now with their nickel package, 5 defensive backs against 3 wide receivers for Houston.
This one complete. A flag comes in as Hanna hauls it in for apparent first down yardage, but a flag back at the 17. Against Chicago. So the catch by Hanna will stand.
'97 defense holding 5 yards from the end of the run. First down.
Chris Zorich, defensive tackle, is holding.
Talk about a guy that was born to be a Bear.
Yeah.
Chris Zorich, lifelong dream came true when he was drafted by Chicago, and it's an all-Irish interior defensive front along with Flanagan.
Yeah, he and Flanagan, and Zorich is one of those guys that every coach would like to have in his team.
Went to the same high school as Dick Butkus. His idol Mike Singletary, and once again showing the Rashaan Salam haircut. Okay, 1st and 10, ball at the 35, Oilers. Chandler pumps once to the left, buys some more time, and decides to air it out all the way downfield to Malcolm Sebring. Incomplete.
Well, there was contact there, too.
Marty Carter was back there with Sebring.
Remember what I told you about Chandler's strong arm? But up on the front line, watch 97 Zorich. He is on Bruce Matthews, jumping up and down, just cheering, bouncing around. I mean, this guy, when you wind him up, whoa, and a nice hit right into the chest of Chris Chandler. He looks around at the referee. Going to throw the flag? No. Yeah.
Bear through and through. Well, Chris Sanders has been injured, and we understand that he's not in the game. Questionable to return as the Oilers try to get back in it. Chandler threads the needle to Haywood Jeffries. Jeffries picks up the first down. But a flag on the far side at the 40.
Preliminary
And it's against the Bears.
The penalty is against the Bears.
Offside, number 90 defense. Penalties decline. It's lined up in the neutral zone.
This time, Alonzo Spellman picks up the infraction. So another first down for the Oilers, creeping upfield, taking a lot of time with 4:41 still left. They trail by 10. Chandler feeling the heat from Spellman, just gets it away to Todd McNair. McNair spins his way inside the 45. Now we understand it is snowing at Denver's Mile High Stadium as it is a balmy 60 degrees here at Soldier Field. Which brings us to the reminder that Game 2 of our doubleheader is headlined by that big Kansas City-Denver clash. Some of you will see the Colts against Oakland. Chandler back, has another man. Seabrook complete for the first down, and Houston on the move at the 4-minute mark.
Bears kind of playing this prevent defense, being very soft in their coverage. Houston taking advantage of it right down the field.
At the Bear 30-yard line. Chandler dumps it over the middle. McNair. That one good for a gain of about 7 yards. John Mangum made the stop for Chicago.
Again, if you're going to have the defensive backs, they're running a 3-deep zone, drop as deep as they possibly can. The underneath receivers will be open.
3:25 left. Oilers trailing by 10. Chandler back quickly. Another one caught by Jeffries, and Jeffries down to the Chicago 15. And the Oilers hurry up to the line of scrimmage. A Bear is down at the 10. But Jeremy Lincoln springs back up to his feet.
That was a nice little slant pattern run by Haywood Jeffries. Houston completes one of those slants.
All of a sudden, the Soldier Field crowd wakes up. Chandler off the flat, complete. Probably for no gain. That one complete to Seabrook. The report on Sanders is cramps. That is why he is not out in the game. We saw him limp out a little bit earlier. Out of the flat. This one complete. Roderick Lewis. So Chandler just sprinkling it around, although the clock continues to roll.
Chandler
now
saying,
it's stopped at 2:27.
Get out of bounds. That's all we want you to do. That's why I threw it out there. Get out of bounds.
So the Oilers take a timeout, and they'll have one left. When we come back, the Oilers trying to pull off a miraculous comeback.
Here we are at the world's House after Fresh Prince, NBC Monday.
The Oilers have the ball just inside the 6-yard line of Chicago. They trail by 10. They need 2 scores. 2:27 left. This is a big play at 3rd and 5. Haywood Jeffries fought off the coverage for the touchdown. What a play. Jeremy Lincoln was all over him, but he fought him off to make the catch.
Yeah, that was big versus little. That's exactly what they were trying to take advantage of. Haywood Jeffries just runs a little hitch pattern. He's got to win the battle against Jeremy Lincoln 39. He does, turns around, and Chandler puts it right on the money. There is the exclamation point. Lincoln saying, man, he's all over me. Well, Lincoln was all over him, too.
That is the 6th reception for Jeffries. Al Del Greco's point after, all important. Because that makes it 35-32.
We got a lot of football left here.
With 2:23 left, Houston very much alive. By the way, I want to get a note in on Haywood Jeffries. That was his 6th reception. So he passes Drew Hill on the Houston Oilers all-time reception list. He came into the game at number 3. He's now number 2 behind Ernest Gibbons. But a big touchdown reception by Jeffries gets the Oilers within 3 with plenty of football left. And there is plenty of football left on NBC this afternoon. Game 2 of the NFL doubleheader. Should be a fun game to watch with the snow coming down in
I agree.
Denver.
I always like football games in the snow, to watch especially.
Colts and Marshall Faulk travel to Oakland. Colts trying to stay red hot. Jim Harbaugh having a great year. And then some of you will see the San Diego Chargers in need of a win. They're up at the Kingdome in Seattle.
So which team shows up in Mile High Stadium? Last Monday night's Denver Broncos or the previous week's Denver Broncos? They have been hot and very, very cold. And again, Wannstedt is saying we cannot close the deal. What's wrong? We put these guys right back in the football game. I'm looking onside kick. Dave Wannstedt's got his hands team up there.
Well, the Houston Oilers do have one timeout left.
That hurts. Because you want your defense in these situations to take the timeouts, because that's the only way they can stop the clock. The offense can throw the ball out of bounds, throw the ball into the ground and stop the clock. Del Greco setting up for an onside kick.
And the Bears' good hands team is crowding the 40-yard line. 9 of the 11 players up. To be fielded by a Bear at the 38, and Houston recovered it.
No.
No, they did not. It was Timpson who was able to get it. It appeared that they might have slipped in, but Timpson able to grab it for Chicago.
It bounced off of Jeff Graham. Timpson, the other wide receiver who's had a big day, is right there to get it. And these Bears, they don't want to do it easily. This is a tough kick because it bounces right there in front of Graham and stays low. And then Timpson is the one who recovers it very close. Hall 51 of Houston almost makes the recovery. And they are all over him. That's a team you don't want to be on.
Did not see Timpson slip in from behind. It appeared it was all Hall's. So Chicago just going to run some time off the clock with Salam. 2:12 left.
Houston,
and the Oilers take their final timeout.
Yeah, because then the next stoppage of play will be at the 2-minute warning, so they'll get an extra stoppage of play. But
well, the winds have not been pretty for Dave Wannstedt and the Chicago Bears. They've been high scoring. They'll have another 30-point-plus game. That'll be their 4th 30-point-plus game of the season. But it has been the defense which has given up some big yards. On the flip side, you've got another disappointing loss perhaps for the Houston Oilers.
That's Bruce Matthews. Apparently, from the words of our producer, David Michaels, a heck of a carpenter. Along with being a very fine offensive lineman, Bruce Matthews put some doors at David Michaels' house, and he says they're wonderful. They're fantastic. So a man of many talents is Bruce Matthews.
Well, if you're upset with his carpentry work, you're going to call him up and say, hey, Bruce, this thing looks terrible.
No, I'm not.
What kind of construction company are you guys running anyway? You're not exactly going to come back with that response.
No, you're not. You're not.
To Matthews. This will be the final play before the 2-minute warning, perhaps.
Whoops.
Oilers in. Coming across was Glenn Montgomery. Oilers trying to make something happen. Down by 3.
Encroachment, 94 defense, 5 yards, repeat second down.
So not a good time for a penalty like that, especially with time left. Trying to get the Bears stopped on this could be their final series. The Oilers trying to stop a 2-game losing streak. So now 2nd down and 2. And Salam picks up the first down, and that should be it. It'll be the final play before the 2-minute warning. The Houston Oilers have fought valiantly, but it appears they'll be a little short today in Chicago. You're watching the NFL on NBC. Dave Wanstedt and the Chicago Bears just 2 minutes away from improving their record to 5-2. The Oilers are out of timeouts. Kramer will take the proverbial knee to wind this one down. Strange game, Bob.
Oh, I can't remember a game that had more different personalities. I mean, it was all Bears first quarter and a half. Into the first half, the interception gave life to Houston. Jeff Fisher's team fought back. Wanstedt standing, man, why are we constantly in this spot? We're a better team than this. This game should not be close. The Bears have a 100-yard rusher, 200-yard receivers. Their quarterback over 300 yards. His best performance.
Career performance by Kramer, who takes a knee.
I mean, it's close. They need that touchdown reception by Jeff Graham, or this ball game is tied, or Houston is leading. Goodness gracious.
That career high passing total by Eric Kramer, by the way, 343 yards. That's a career high. I guess his next previous high was in Detroit last year when he played, or at Detroit in 93, was it?
94.
94.
309 yards.
309 yards, and meanwhile, Chris Chandler, pretty good passing day, but 3 turnovers by his team. I think it all started with the back-to-back turnovers. That was kind of set the tone for the game.
First play by Chicago is an interception. First play by Houston after the interception is a fumble.
But the Bears hang on to go to 5-2, their 3rd straight win. Jeff Fisher, the former Chicago Bear, sees his team drop to 2-5. They'll take on Tampa Bay next week. It'll be the 3rd straight NFC Central team the Oilers take on. Once again, the final score, Bears win at 35-32. Coming up next on NBC Sports, the second half of our NFL doubleheader. Most of you will see Steve Bono and the Chiefs battle John Elway and the snow in Denver. Others will see Indianapolis versus Oakland, or San Diego take on the Seahawks in the Kingdom. So for Bob Trumpy, I'm Dan Hicks saying so long from Chicago. You're watching the NFL on